Welcome you back to the All-State Kickoff on ABC as Bevo 15 welcomes us back. The 10-year-old steer, 2,100 pounds of pure power in college football pageantry. Take in the scene, the grand arrival of the Longhorns. First opened up the season at Ohio State when Arch was just growing into it all. Now playing all these tough teams down the stretch. It'll be Texas A&M a week from now, but the rivalry game in front of them with Arkansas. Always a great scene here on a sun-kissed day in Austin on the 40 acres. There's Coach Sark. He met with us yesterday, talked about the unique messaging to his team, putting to rest the sting of a road loss at Georgia and locking in on still two massive games right in front of them. Joe and Jesse with you for this SEC Saturday. There was so much attention, of course, Jesse, and criticism put on Arch Manning early in the year. Well, for those who doubted him, look at him now and the way he's playing to expectations in our all-state spotlight.
Yeah, I think Arch has played a lot better in his last 7 games. I think mechanically he's been a lot more sound, but I think he's also doing a better job of looking for checkdowns and underneath throws. This play against the Gators, 3rd and long, everybody covered downfield. If he finds Wisner out on the check down, it's going to be a first down. Instead, it's a minimal gain. You think about the next game against Oklahoma. Similar situation on 3rd down. Quickly finding Wisner in about 2.37 seconds, and Wisner's able to make a few people miss. He ends up gaining 24 yards, and it's an explosive play. These check down throws, they're not going to make the highlight reel ever, but they're so critical and so important to an offense, finding a rhythm, sustaining drives, and certainly I think the easy underneath throws. That's been key for Arch Manning, and I think his development in the last 7 games.
Let's size up Arkansas for everybody. All right, they're a 2-win team. I get it. They're winless in the SEC. They may be the best winless SEC team you have ever seen with all these close losses that are mind-boggling.
Arkansas can win this game if they don't give it away. They've lost 5 games this year by 3 points or less. Time and time again, late in games, we've seen Arkansas. Penalties, defense not getting stops, way too many giveaways on offense in the 4th quarter of these games. They've taken Ole Miss, they've taken Tennessee, they've taken Texas A&M to the brink. Arkansas could easily be a 7-win team right now. They can win this game if they don't give it away.
Katie.
Yeah, Tess, well, Arkansas' thin at running back. Mike Washington, he's the bell cow, but his counterpart, Braylon Russell, is in concussion protocol. He ran into his teammate in what Bobby Petrino called a freak accident, so he's not cleared to play. Rodney Hill is also out due to an illness. He didn't even make the trip, which leaves true freshman Cam Settles as Mike Washington's only backup. But as you guys know, Taylon Green is very dynamic using his legs. Between Green and Washington, they're going to get the bulk of the run game, guys.
Now that is the key, isn't it, Jesse, when it comes to Arkansas? Green can do it with his legs. Not many teams in the country can contain him when he is red hot with those long strides.
No, this is an outstanding rushing offense for Arkansas, and it's a little bit of Mike Washington, but it's a lot of Taylon Green too, and it's going to be a handful, I think, for a Texas defense that's been very good at stopping the run this year.
Everybody we have talked to down here in Austin is just happy to be playing a local 2:30 game here at home. It's been a very funny schedule when it comes to the split of home and road, and then when it comes to their success with road games compared to home games. Look at this.
It's pretty incredible. Up until yesterday, they'd only played 1 home game here at Texas in 62 days. So yes, getting back to the friendly confines here, very big for them with this home crowd. No question, Texas wants to start early as Vince Young looks on, an all-time great. The stars have come out for a very meaningful game, for a rivalry game here in Austin.
Look at the fit, too. Isn't it great on VY, 2005 national champion at the Rose Bowl, one of the great moments in the history of the sport. Just take it in. It's always an amazing scene at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. Texas won the toss. They elected to defer. There's Coach Petrino. He took over mid-season for Sam Pittman. Of course, all the success he's had in his career as a head coach, from Louisville to the NFL. One of the great play callers of a generation. Does Texas bounce back? As we will get the answer underway here in Austin. Well, when it comes to this Arkansas offense, Jesse, it's all about the explosive play.
Yeah, statistically, Joe, they are the most explosive offense in the entire country. They're very balanced. They can do it running. They can do it throwing. They've got the ultimate dual-threat quarterback in Taylon Green, but it's not just running back and quarterback. They're loaded at receiver, at tight end, and you were talking about Bobby Petrino a moment ago as an offensive mind. So good at getting playmakers the football in space. Texas's defense is going to have their hands full today.
See Mike Washington, the featured back. Remember, they are thin there, as Katie told us. Braylon Russell, Rodney Hill, both out today. Key backups. Washington will take it, and look at Mike Washington. Mike Washington finally run down by Michael Tapp, and what a start to the day for the Hawks. You want explosive plays, play number one.
Well, Texas is playing this game without starting middle linebacker Anthony Hill. They got Trey Moore in his place, and he's going to get ISO blocked by the fullback Matt Lassiter, and that springs Mike Washington. He's 6'2", 230, Joe, a big physical back that's going to have a big workload today, but he also has tons of speed. You can't start the game any better if you're Arkansas.
41-yard run on the first play of the game. Here's Green. As he just has to throw it away. The impact players built by the Home Depot.
Well, you saw Mike Washington on the very first play. Big one for Arkansas. Raylan Sharp at receiver's really been coming on these last 3 games. Colin Simmons, one of the best pass rushers in the entire country for Texas. And Ty Anthony Smith has been making a lot of plays in recent weeks. Without Anthony Hill in this game, Smith is going to really have to step up.
Anthony Hill, the leading tackler for the Horns. He was injured late last week at Georgia. Did have an interception of Gunnar Stockton in that second half, and then left the game and can't go today. This time, just a yard for Washington as Burke makes the tackle.
But now a big third down early in this game, and we talked about Raylan Sharp, one of our impact players. He's been a guy in these types of situations that Taylon Green has been looking for. They move him around in different spots. He's a smaller receiver, but a guy that they like to stack release to give him access into routes.
There is Sharp on third down and 9. Third and 9. Green being chased back by Simmons, escapes him, turns the corner, and then tries to throw the ball away. It was Trey Moore who undercut him.
Well, it was Ethan Burke who got the pressure initially, number 91. He's coming from over here. He's going to slant inside, and that's going to force Taylon Green to have to move out to his left. Nice job against one of the more mobile quarterbacks in this conference of Texas up front, getting pressure with stunts and twists and disrupting the timing there of Green.
Well, the Texan native, Scott Starzik, the true freshman who was the #1 kicking recruit in the country, comes out for a 51-yard attempt. And that is extremely well struck by Starzyk. A 51-yarder after Arkansas. Mike Washington with the longest run against Texas's defense this season.
We got a great offensive matchup in terms of minds. You've been talking about Bobby Petrino. Steve Sarkisian, one of the most creative minds in the country as well. This is the first play against Vanderbilt a few weeks ago. Wingo in motion. No one travels with him. So right away, Manning knows it's zone coverage. They run it perfectly into the blitz. A couple nice blocks downfield. Wingo makes the miss. And it's a 75-yard touchdown. The very next play, you got Ryan Niblett on a jet sweep. Everybody going to the left. No, it's a reverse back to Livingston. Passes it back to Manning. You've got 5 offensive linemen and a tight end out in front of Niblett for another explosive play. The misdirection, the creativity, the motions really makes trying to handle this Texas offense so difficult. And Bobby Petrino certainly all week long has been telling his defense, guys, we got to have great eye discipline in this game.
I was listening in on a conversation you were having with Coach Sark down on the field just before kickoff, discussing the possibility of Ryan Wingo and getting the ball into his hands early on here. Here is Niblett on the return. He's a dangerous return man, but that's excellent kickoff coverage. So Arch Manning, the story, if you haven't been following, you left off early. It's the last 3 games, averaging over 300 passing yards per game.
Yeah, and Joe, he's got a lot of things you can't coach. He's 6'4". He's got tremendous arm talent. He's very, very athletic, but the game is slowing down to him now, entering game 11 this season, doing a better job throwing the checkdowns. He's also been able to get off to fast starts in recent weeks, and I think that's going to be a real key here for Texas. Playing back at home again, finally, an opportunity to see some momentum.
We had a great visit with him yesterday. He's very aware of his growth as the season has gone along and why it has happened. And immediately, it is indeed Wingo. And Wingo takes it ahead for a gain of 9 yards, just like Sark said to you.
It's the 4th straight game he's going to do this. I was watching film, and I'm like, against Mississippi State, he got the first touch, went 60 yards. Vandy, he went 75. He threw it to him against Georgia. He tripped himself, otherwise he might have scored, and they're doing it again.
And quickly out to Mosley. Mosley has been a nice addition to this team.
We take a look now at Texas's and Arkansas's impact players, brought to you by the Home Depot. And for Texas, Ryan Wingo, you saw him on the first catch. Mosley, you saw him on the second catch. For Arkansas, Quincy Rhodes been their most consistent defensive player. And Xavier Sari now playing more on the line of scrimmage, rushing the passer. He's got to be big.
16-yard reception by Mosley, as we saw Jordan Young getting a little anxious on the Hogs' defensive side.
Well, he wasn't just offside, he was about 4 yards offside.
Offside, defense, number 4, into the neutral zone, causing an offensive player to react. It's a 5-yard penalty, still first down.
So 1st and 5 after the penalty. Wisner, as he will cross midfield and surge ahead for that line to gain. That's a Texas first down.
Well, running backs for Texas this year have only averaged 4 yards a carry. They have not had the explosive plays in the running game they were hoping to have. Wisner, though, one of those guys that can give them that because of his explosiveness. You see C.J. Baxter there, his backup. Both of these guys will get run.
Manning being pressured, steps up in the pocket, goes downfield, and it's a touchdown to DeAndre Moore.
Well, the very first play, they threw a swing right out to Wingo. They're going to fake it, and it gets the eyes of the safety, and that allows the slot receiver Moore to get over top of the post. One thing Steve Sarkisian's so good at is setting things up, and that fake receiver screen just froze the defender for Arkansas long enough to allow the speed of Moore to get behind him. and a beautifully accurate throw by Manning.
Now our man McStats to our left says, you know, Texas has now scored on their last 4 opening drives. In their first 7 games, they only scored on 1 opening drive. Things are different with Arch Manning and this offense, as Mason Shipley added the extra point, and DeAndre Moore had the glory play, the 46-yard touchdown reception, 7-3 Horns.
If you got something to prove, go and prove it. Don't let nobody clip your wings.
Look at a fire-up crowd on the AT&T Connected Cam here at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium, where DeAndre Moore just had the 46-yard touchdown reception. Arch Manning, we mentioned how well he's been playing as the season goes on. He was 3 for 3 on that opening drive for Texas, 71 yards, and he didn't face a 3rd down, and then had the big strike where he stepped up in the pocket and looked downfield to Moore.
Arkansas O-line coach Eric Mateos told his position group between series, ID 14. Where is 14 Brad Spence? If he's in the box, the high rush is coming on the right. They're trying to flush our quarterback to the left. We got to be ready for it.
Yeah, Katie, Brad Spence is a key player for Texas's defense. He's an Arkansas transfer, by the way, but a very athletic D lineman at 6'2", 241 pounds. And that's the guy that Texas likes to use on 3rd downs to spy athletic quarterbacks. And you saw on that last 3rd down what their coach was talking about, affecting Taylor Green, forcing him to run the opposite way that he wanted to.
There is Green off the play action. Wide open downfield is Platt. Jaden Platt with the big play.
Well, it's the play fake that freezes Michael Taft and it freezes Colin Simmons. The fake here gets Simmons, it gets Taft, and Platt runs in behind it on the corner route. A nice aggressive play call by Bobby Petrino on the first play of this drive.
I-formation with Lassiter in front of Washington after the 30-yard reception to the tight end Platt. And here is Washington. Remember, he started the game with a 41-yard run on the first play. The Texas defense had only allowed just 5 rushes of 20-plus yards this season, the 7th fewest in the country, and then he goes for 41 on the first play.
And they're going to have to force feed him in this game. This is normally a bit of a tailback by committee approach, sharing carries with Braylon Russell. But we mentioned earlier, 3 running backs out in this game, so he's the type of guy, 2 3-yard gains in the first quarter. Those become 7 8-yard gains late. He's a big guy that people don't like tackling.
And Russell is in concussion protocol. Rodney Hill spiked a fever and Taylor Green. That's exactly what he can do when he catches a seam. First down Hogs.
Well, it's a great job reading the zone read, and this time Taylor Green's reading Ethan Burke here on the end. If he crashes down, he's going to keep this and get around the outside. There's nobody there for Texas to replace it. They're able to freeze Trey Moore that time with a route out in the flat. So again, Bobby Petrino getting guys in space, and you've seen it throwing the ball, and you've also seen it in the run game too.
Washington testing that right side as he gets a good push at the end there from his right tackle Harris.
Okay, so Joe, situationally, this is where Arkansas has to be good. They were not good against LSU in their last game. When they got down in close to the red zone, they turned it over 3 times. They're normally one of the best red zone offenses in the country. They score touchdowns on 76% of their red zone possessions, 6th best in the nation, but you can't turn it over. You've got to come away with points when you get into this area of the field.
That was a game against LSU when they led by 2 touchdowns. And they lost it 23-22. Here's 2nd and 5. Green with time gets it out quickly as he goes over to the near sideline to Sharp.
Yeah, really nice job that time by Raylan Sharp fighting back and getting to the football. He's a little guy at 5'9", only 169 pounds. He's isolated out on a one-on-one route against Malik Muhammad, the best corner that Texas has. It's a low throw. He's able to get down low and see if he gets his hands underneath that. He's ruled a catch on the field. It looks like they may take a look at that again.
So they're going to review this, that the ruling on the field is a 6-yard reception and a first down for Arkansas on what's a really nice response drive to this point after the quick strike by Texas.
Good point, Joe. Really aggressive right out of the gate, right? On first down, play action, you're hitting flat on the corner route. As you take another look at this from a different angle, you need indisputable video evidence to overturn this. The ruling on the field was that it was a catch. Is there anything that indicates that this football hit the ground and that the ground helped him secure the catch?
Some SEC fans and this crew having some flashbacks to Florida, Georgia with what happened there last month. Let's bring in Matt Austin, our rules expert. What does your eye see, Matty?
Yeah, Joe, I don't think this is a catch. You can see the receiver's hands, the white gloves are apart. There's definitely room between his hands. I think he trapped this ball. It should be an incomplete pass.
We will see if review goes that way and overturns what is right now a 6-yard reception for Sharp and a first down for Arkansas.
Well, and it's a big deal, too, because if this does get overturned, it's going to set up 3rd and long down here in the red zone versus what would be a first down for Arkansas here. Both of these offenses so far kind of going back and forth in this game.
Well, that's been the Arkansas season, right? They're one of 9 teams in the country that scores and allows 30 points per game this season. It's incredible the year that they've gone through.
After video review, it is an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd down at the 18.5-yard line.
All right, so now this sets them back into 3rd down. This is a situation Texas's defense knows that Taylon Green's legs can become a factor, whether it's a designed run or a scramble. The first 3rd down of the game, I thought Texas did a really good job containing him. And we heard Katie earlier in her report using Brad Spence, number 14, as a spy. We'll see if they are able to do that again on this 3rd down.
You don't have to worry about getting loud. They know it. No cue necessary on a down and distance like this in the red zone. He shuffles it ahead to his tight end Jones, who's going to be about 1.5 yards, maybe 2 yards shy of that line of game.
Interesting decision here for Bobby Petrino. How aggressive does he want to be? His kicker already hit a 51-yarder. I think I agree with this call. To go for the field goal and pay this off with points. 2 pretty good drives to start the game on offense. Each playing on the road here. You just want to keep getting on that scoreboard.
A week ago, stars it at LSU. He missed from 48 yards on Arkansas's final drive. They lost by 1. Today, off to a much better start. Hit from 51. This from 33. And he strikes it well again. And Arkansas responds. 1-point game here in Austin.
One of the great games of all time.
These fans hate Texas more than they even like themselves.
Well, we're moments away now from a renewal of a great rivalry.
SEC on ABC College Football is presented by Burger King. You rule. And in part by T-Mobile. If you didn't know T-Mobile has home internet, you do now.
This game back in 2021 that you see the images of, Jesse, it gets referred to as that welcome to the SEC moment for Texas. They weren't in the league yet, but they had just announced that they were coming to the SEC. And Arkansas ran all over them for 333 yards. They robbed them 40-21. And it was a moment early on in Sark's career at Texas where he said, we need to get bigger to win in the SEC. So many great moments in this rivalry, but Arkansas is big, and Texas did get bigger.
Arkansas looks like an NFL team, seriously. When you look at them positionally across the board, Taylon Green's absolutely huge. Mike Washington, these running backs are absolutely huge. As a group, they're big in the trenches. Their safeties are 225 pounds. Their corners are all 6'2". Arkansas is as good-looking a team getting off the bus pregame and in pregame warm-ups that you're going to see.
Arch was 3 for 3 on their first drive with a touchdown strike to Moore. Weisner patiently looking for something. He works his way back to the line of scrimmage. Ian Jaffrard, you cannot miss it, Jesse, with the tackle. 387 pounds.
Yeah, they are big in the middle. Cameron Ball at 323. He's the little guy. And that guy right there, Jaffrard, 390. He's the big one. It is hard to run between the tackles against Arkansas.
Quick strike by Arch to Wingo, and when Wingo just gets a little bit of space, he bursts right up the field for a first down.
Well, and the play fake can help. This isn't going to be a run, but you're just trying to freeze Stephen Dix Jr. at linebacker for a split second with this fake right here. He just pauses, and that opens a bigger window for Wingo.
15 yards on the Manning to Wingo catch. There's Arch extending the play, looking to direct some traffic, and then smart to just scoot out before Bradley Shaw gets to him.
Well, this Arkansas defense is the worst in the conference. First 5 games of the year, way too many explosive plays. Guys weren't getting lined up. They ended up firing their D coordinator, Travis Williams, and they promoted Chris Wilson right there. I think he's done a pretty good job since of just trying to simplify things. They're very, very conservative on defense. You don't see a lot of crazy blitzes. He just wants his guys to line up and play fast with confidence.
Chris Wilson, who was Sark's defensive line coach at USC all those years ago. C.J. Baxter takes it ahead.
So a guy to keep an eye on for Arkansas's defense is number 10, Xavier Sorey. He's their most athletic player. He's their most versatile player. Most of his career is out of the game now, was at linebacker, but in the last 3 games, they've been putting him up on a line of scrimmage, letting him rush the passer. Find out from Katie later what the deal is with Sorey, but he's the guy they need to have on the field because they're a different defense when number 10's getting after the quarterback.
Their leading tackler, not on the field right now, 3rd down and 5. Manning. That is 5 straight completions to open the game as Emmett Mosley continues to impress as the season goes along.
It's a really nice pocket that time. And Cole Hudson here at right guard, he sees the blitz coming this way, and Manning has a chance to survey the entire field and deliver a strike over the middle to Emmett Mosley. Now already his 2nd catch in this game.
Yeah, 5 completions in a row now for Manning. That is his season high. Here is C4, C.J. Baxter, as he takes it inside the 30-yard line.
Xavier Sorey, we talked about again, being the most versatile guy for Arkansas, and a guy that was happy and willing to accept his new role as sort of a edge player, using his athleticism to rush the passer. Out of the game right now, and we've seen, obviously, Anthony Hill not in this one for Texas, but the most versatile guy on Arkansas now, missing in action too.
Baxter, as he works his way inside the 25, and he was tackled by Saili.
And so without your best pass rusher on the field, it now affects and changes an Arkansas front 7 that was really thin anyway. They'd really only been playing with a 6 or 7-man rotation on the defensive line these last couple weeks. Who now can step up and be that alpha pass rusher in this type of situation?
So Philip Lee lining up on the edge on 3rd and 4 for Manning and the Horns. Again, a completion. This is Andres, his outstanding tight end, and Manning is 6 for 6 to start the game.
And again, a really nice pocket. This time only a 3-man rush, easily picked up by everybody here for Manning to just step in and throw. He's got this all day, and nice job by the Cal transfer at tight end, finding the soft spot in the zone and making it an easy pitch and catch.
Andres with the 14-yard reception. It's 1st and goal. That's the career high. He starts the game 6 for 6. Baxter changes direction and works his way just inside the 5-yard line.
And this is an area of the field where Arch Manning becomes more of a factor on zone reads and running the football as well. This offensive line has not been great at the point of attack in the run game, particularly down in the red zone close to the goal line this season. But Steve Sarkisian, time and time again, has not been afraid to dial up number 16, carrying the football himself. Big, strong runner at 6'4", 220 pounds.
And a timeout is going to be used by Texas. In the midst of this 9-play drive that's now inside the 5-yard line. 2nd and goal when we come back to Austin.
Arkansas leading tackler Xavier Sori is dealing with a bruised quad. They were going to give him a series, but he's come back in for this goal line stand, guys. He's fine.
Really good news for this defense there, Katie.
Remember, he was one of the biggest recruits in the country to Georgia. Played 3 years there. Didn't get on the field much, but he has blossomed at Arkansas. And they have him out there for 2nd and goal after the Texas timeout. Here goes the trick play, and it's right into the hands of Arch Manning. It was Parker Livingston with the touchdown pass to his good buddy, Arch.
Fantastic job, and another example of misdirection by Steve Sarkisian in the passing game. Jet sweep to a reverse throwback to the quarterback, and Arkansas completely lost track of Arch Manning in the end zone.
So now you know what they talked about on the timeout. As Shipley adds the extra point.
Well, the guy you got to keep your eye on, obviously, is the quarterback right here in Arch Manning, but you're going to get a jet this way, a reverse this way, and nobody has their eye on the QB. This is a perfect place in the field to run this as well. You see Sori there, number 10. He realized a little bit too late. I'll let the quarterback get behind my eyes. Some trickeration early. We saw a touchdown pass to DeAndre Moore on a fake receiver screen before hitting the post. And now they dial up the trick play down in the red zone. As you take a look here from the progressive pylon cam. Nice little job of Arch Manning going up and climbing the ladder.
Now 20 touchdown passes on the year, the 6 rushing touchdowns, and add a touchdown catch to Coach Sark's star quarterback. Shanks will let it go over his head. 14-6 Texas. What a start to the day for Arch Manning, Jesse.
Yeah, Joe, he's in rhythm right now. Ball hasn't hit the ground yet. First play of the game. We knew they were going to throw it to Wingo. And the very next play, he spit it out to Emmett Mosley on a slant. Nice job with play action. Finding Wingo over the ball. Nice in route to Mosley as well. It's been quick throws, intermediate throws, and a nice job here stepping up in the pocket after faking the wide receiver screen. Allows DeAndre Moore to get behind the defense. And then, well, why you're throwing it so well, let's let someone else do it and throw it to you in the end zone. It's been all Arch Manning offensively for Texas.
And that 6'4" frame paid off there on that reception as well. And now here's Talon Green as Green runs it again with great success as he leads SEC quarterbacks in rushing yards. Finally tracked down by Ethan Burke.
Well, and he's reading off of Trey Moore at linebacker, who's going to overrun this. He's going to get way wide, and Green's just going to see him get wide and then cut it up the field. That's the defender he's trying to read off of. There's just so many different schemes in Arkansas's playbook when it comes to running the football, and the option is something now we've seen in recent weeks that defenses have had their hands full with.
Yeah, that one little shimmy to Michael Taff, an extra yardage for Green, and that ball is cresting up against midfield. Green with a defender in his face. That was a dangerous throw that time as Colin Simmons was right on top of Green.
Well, they're averaging 6 yards a carry, and a lot of that's Washington and a lot of that's Green. But the volume, you're going to see zone plays. You're going to see linemen pulling. You're going to see I formation. You've seen that in this game. Quarterback runs, jet sweeps. They've got the option so many different things and schemes that you've got to plan for if you're Texas on defense. I think it's the variety sometimes that keeps defenses on their heels trying to stop this rushing attack.
Washington running the ball on 2nd and 10. All these drives start so red hot for Arkansas with their first play on their 3 drives, right? The 41-yarder to start the game, then the 30-yard reception. We just saw Green with a 25-yard run. You get those 3 plays at 96 yards. It's everything else that's been the struggle, like a down and distance like this, Jesse.
And now there's a massive substitution for Texas, and they're bringing their best pass rushers on the field. Colin Simmons, number 1, has entered the game. The Arkansas transfer, Brad Spence, has entered the game. Both guys now lined up on the edges for Texas, and they're going to try and use that speed to get upfield.
That guy right there has 9 sacks on the year, number 2 in the SEC. 3rd and 8 for Green. And he is able to get it complete to Omega Blake for a first down for Arkansas.
And a really nice field because, Joe, you hit it on the head. It was Colin Simmons that brought the rush that forced Taylon Green to have to step up in the pocket. It's coming this way. You're able to maneuver up in here, but keeping your eyes downfield and finding an open throw. That time, Omega Blake, a guy that's been very quiet for Arkansas the last 2 games. Just 3 catches for 35 yards. Monsieur Delane shut him out against LSU. He's got to make plays in this one.
Good spin move by Washington as Washington goes for about 9.5 yards on that run.
He's got everything you like. He's a hard runner that breaks tackles. The problem for Washington this year, though, has been fumbles. You, Katie, and I saw the costly fumble against Memphis that lost them the game late. He also has a fumble in each of the last 2 games. He has got to be so much better in this one with ball security.
14-6 at the end of the first quarter. Arch Manning with the touchdown reception. Also had the big touchdown pass. The SEC on ABC, presented by Burger King, returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Sidelines with Bobby Petrino. Coach Petrino, your offense is moving the ball well. How do you cash in the end zone here?
Yeah, we've got to be able to run the ball for first down. We converted the last 3rd down. They've been tough on 3rd down, so it'd be nice if we get to 3rd and short.
Thanks for the time.
Thanks.
Well, right now they have 2nd and short to start the 2nd quarter, trailing Texas by 8. As Washington will have the first down. We had a discussion with Petrino yesterday about, you're sitting here with a team that's winless in the SEC but has played really well in competitive games until they turn the ball over late. And he said to us, listen, the attitude of the players is not an issue. The effort's not an issue. It's that we find ways to lose games instead of finding ways to win games.
I was talking to him on the field before the game, and he was telling me, the good news is that we're still doing really well on offense, and guys are showing up each and every week, ready to go, excited for the opportunity that lies ahead. They were fired up to play a really good Texas defense in this one.
I always wonder what's going through the heads of players when you're sitting there at 2-8, 0-6 in the league, but it's been a good week of practice as Washington puts down the shoulder and goes right into the end zone. He just trucked Michael Tapp. A 22-yard impressive touchdown run by Utica, New York's Mike Washington.
If you're going to run the football outside, you have got to be able to control the edge. Look at the Georgia Tech transfer, Corey Robinson, working against Ethan Burke. He's able to get that block, and there's the big back running right through a second-team All-American and Michael Tapp on his way to the end zone. Intercontinental or heavyweight championship belt, Joe. Man.
Now, we're a week away from a Survivor Series on ESPN, but he's ready for it right now. Washington just went over 1,000 yards for the season with that run. Katie.
Well, Tess, Michael Tapp told me earlier in the week, Mike Washington is a stud. He said Washington kind of looks like Adrian Peterson in the way he drives the ball. He's got great cuts, great vision. He's a load to stop. And Michael Tapp just found that out firsthand, guys.
Arkansas is his 3rd school. He was under-recruited coming out of Cicero North in Syracuse, New York. Landed at the University of Buffalo, went to New Mexico State. Here's the progressive pylon cam, and then lands in the SEC. There are not a lot of running backs from upstate New York in the SEC. He's an impressive one.
I think he's a guy that's going to have a chance to have a long career in the National Football League because he's also an every down back. You're getting to see in this first quarter, now in the second, his ability running the football, but he can catch the ball too, Joe, and he can block. He's legitimately a 3-down back, and his versatility, I think, adds so much value to him in the upcoming NFL draft.
Boy, and do they need him to have a big day. They are thinned out at running back, but we talk about the explosive plays of Arkansas. 11.8 per game. That's the most in major college football, and they've already had a few big ones today against number 17 Texas. That's holding on to hope that somehow down the stretch here they can make their way into the college football playoff. Want to remind you, Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One is coming up next. It is number 20 Tennessee taking on Florida, the rivalry there. Chris Kirk and Holly will have the call of Tennessee at Florida at the Swamp tonight. Of course, a great part of your football legacy, Jesse.
Yeah, no question. I was so lucky to get a chance to play in that rivalry game. It is exactly that. It's a special game with a lot of intensity, and it's unfortunate now with the SEC going to a 9-game schedule. Those two teams are not going to play every year anymore moving forward.
Arch Manning in the sunlight, and he has been in the spotlight to start this game. 6 for 6, 125 yards, a touchdown pass, a touchdown reception. Wisner with blockers out in front, out to the 31-yard line. You look at the first two drives for Texas, and it has been an impressive day.
It has gone right to script. You get the explosive to DeAndre Moore in the first drive, and then a nice controlled, balanced run and throw drive the second time out.
Wisner again as he wiggles his way to a yard short of that line to gain. It'll be third down from there.
Well, the offensive line has been the weakness for Texas this year, and that really was a big question mark coming into the year. 4 new starters. You had to replace Kelvin Banks at left tackle, the 9th pick to the Saints. They started the season with 3 true sophomores. The left guard position has been in flux all year, and that's really impacted their ability in the run game and in pass protection. But I do think, Joe, these last 2 games, they've got a new starting 5 up front. That's really made a big difference.
They go with the tap to Wingo, and he turns the corner and spins his way for extra yardage. Look at the fight out of Ryan Wingo framed up against Kenai Walker.
And that's a good idea on the jet sweep, because when he gets a full head of steam, he's one of the fastest players in all of college football. 20 times this year, he's been clocked running over 20 miles an hour. You just want to get him going. Those long strides start to pick up, and Arkansas just can't run with them.
Arch turns around. Looked like he was trying to set up the screen, but he just burns it because Wisner wasn't anywhere to be found. Katie?
Well, Tess, Jesse, to your all's point, Sarkisian believes this offensive line unit is the best combination that they have. Arch Manning says he really enjoys having both Connor Robertson and Cole Hudson in the game at the same time. Manning said he's super close to those 2 guys. Their chemistry off the field has certainly led to continuity on it, guys.
Yeah, Katie, Hudson started the year at center, got hurt against Oklahoma. When he came back in the lineup, they moved him to left guard. His backup center, Robertson's been playing really well. It's paying off.
Made a big difference. Arch was talking about that this week. Here's a shot downfield. Wide open is Livingston. A touchdown catch for the guy who threw a touchdown pass. Parker Livingston.
There's a coverage bust on the back end by Caleb Wooden. He's going to get kind of caught in no man's land back here. That's who you're watching. They're running a seam, and this is the touchdown here. But at the top of the route, you're going to see this player is going to take the inside slant. That's Miguel Mitchell. He's got to stay up and be in position. It's a big coverage bust on the back end by Arkansas, and that leads to a huge score there for Texas.
It's been a good season for Livingston. 6 touchdown receptions. Arch Manning His second touchdown strike of the afternoon. His third total touchdown. 21-13 Longhorns.
Tomorrow on Sunday NFL Countdown, the latest on Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, and Shedeur Sanders, plus a live report from the Chiefs-Colts game at Arrowhead. Back to you in Austin, Joe.
Thank you, Shefty. Look forward to that. We've had 6 combined drives, all scoring drives. That's the 34 total points here early in the second quarter. High-speed highlights are brought to you by T-Mobile 5G home internet.
Colin Simmons is the best pass rusher for Texas. Hard to block him one-on-one with a tackle. He gets home against Kentucky in 2.23 seconds. It's even harder to use a slower guard pulling, as Vandy found out. He just rips around that edge and makes the play in 1.7 seconds. His athleticism, though, allows him to play both in the zone read game. Diego Pavia here is reading him, and that body language tells Pavia, I'm keeping this. But look how quickly he's able to change direction and close. He's a very unique talent playing the defensive end position. Led all freshmen a year ago with 9 sacks. Already has 9 on the season this year.
As good a pure pass rusher as Texas has seen in a long time. Green, as he goes to Mike Washington, who makes it to the 30-yard line.
Well, we talked a lot about Arch Manning in this one, but don't forget about Taylon Green. He's one of the better dual-threat quarterbacks in the country. 6'6", can see the field. He can make all the throws, but he's going to hurt you running the ball as well. On design runs, as we've already seen in this game, and on scrambles, too. He's playing with more confidence. This is year 2 in Petrino's offense. The problem, Joe, has been turnovers. 10 giveaways, 10 interceptions. He's got to do a better job in this one, making good decisions.
Already has 2 runs for 43 yards in this game. Washington again, and it's a first down, Hogs. You know, we brought this up earlier of how they've been starting off drives. That's not a good sign for Arkansas when we talked about how thinned out they are at running back. Remember, Braylon Russell, who's their big back, but he gets in to the mix on regular down and distance. He is in concussion protocol. He was injured last week in practice. And then Rodney Hill spiked a fever a few weeks ago. So they're thin at running back. We'll take a short break.
The SEC on ABC is presented by the Burger King Double Cheeseburger. A quarter-pound of beef patties, plain grilled with 2 slices of melty cheese. We're not sure who invented the double cheeseburger, but it sure tastes like we did. You rule.
So moments ago, Mike Washington, the star running back for Arkansas, took this hit and left the game.
Looked like Leonga Lafau, his helmet just sort of rolled up on his ankle a little bit. Wait to find out what the injury is, but he certainly heads to the 10. You mentioned the depth. That now sets up true freshman Cam Settles as the go-to back for Arkansas.
They are thinned out. Cam Settles is now the lone option. They're trying to redshirt the other true freshman, Batten. First down, and somehow Green gets it downfield to Raylan Sharp.
Well, it was a great job by Green holding on to the very last second. He had to kind of negotiate Trey Moore, who was jumping up right in front of him. I don't know if Raylan Sharp got a foot down. He climbs the ladder.
They're saying incomplete.
Yeah, I think he's out of bounds. It's a nice job of Grayson Littleton running over and making sure that he was not in bounds after he caught that football. An unbelievable individual effort there by Taylon Green.
Empty set here on 2nd and 10. Green goes over the middle. It's a first down to Sharp, and Sharp takes it past midfield.
And that's a tremendous route by Sharp. He just shook Jelani McDonald at safety out of his shoes. He's running a bit of an option route here. Fakes like he's going outside and then cuts inside to give a nice window for Taylon Green. This is a guy, again, a former Missouri State FCS All-American that played for Bobby Petrino. He's really been coming on these last 3 games, making big-time plays in the passing game.
Green, that is incomplete. He was looking for a Mega Blake.
Well, without Mike Washington in the game now, Bobby Petrino, question, how often are you going to be running it on first down? how much of the scheme does Cam Settles, a true freshman, really know? What can you do? How much does this now condense the playbook if you're Bobby Petrino, being down to a very talented but very inexperienced running back now?
Cam Settles had 1 rush against Alabama A&M and 1 rush last week against LSU. He has 6 yards on the season, and he is now their running back. Green on 2nd and 10. Oh, Rohan Jones was left wide open. First down, Hogs.
Well, they always do such a good job sneaking Rohan Jones out into routes. He's going to be lined up right here, and he's just going to block before running up the field. He's averaging 31 yards a catch, and a nice job by Green holding on to it to the very last second, letting everything clear out over the middle of the field before finding his tight end from Montreal, Quebec.
Oh, love when you do that. Here's Green as he's trying to get to the corner, but he is chased down by Filsami.
And how about the speed there by Green? Long strides. Doesn't look like he's running very fast, but they just found out on the boundary, Xavier Filsami trying to chase him down. And Taylor Green gets a full head of speed. He is very difficult to catch.
Mike Washington is back out on the field. 9 carries for 97 yards, the big touchdown, and he's back out there on 2nd and 8. Green, he didn't have any options at all, and Michael Taft ended up with the tackle.
He wanted to throw it to Omega Blake on a slant route. He actually fell down, so there was nowhere to go with it. Now, Omega Blake is the go-to guy normally in this offense. Here he's just trying to kind of gets caught up there with Malik Muhammad and goes down. And now you got this big 3rd down. This is an area down in the red zone where if Taylor Green, if nothing's open and you see a crease, you see a lane, there's bad pass rush integrity by Texas, you can take off.
Third down and 5 for Arkansas. Incomplete. Well, Fowl was chasing Taylor Green.
And a big decision now for Bobby Petrino because Texas is just scoring touchdowns.
Defense.
Goal.
24. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic touchdown.
A late flag, and it is defensive holding. So Arkansas is bailed out with an automatic first down. That's on Warren Roberson.
Yeah, and that came away from the throw all the way to the other side of the field. He was working one-on-one with Courtney Crutchfield. Crutchfield tried to break inside, and Roberson just bear hugged him. And that's where the play was. Not even close to where the action was on that play. Big penalty, big mistake for Texas. You see it up here. Taylor Green was never looking that way, but the contact draws the flag, and now a fresh set of downs for Arkansas. Bobby Petrino wants a timeout badly.
And you can see Taylor Green turning his head, looking formationally at Lassiter and Washington. And Bobby Petrino not happy at all. First down and goal. After the penalty, the defensive holding. You see Bobby Petrino in a spot like this. And, you know, we brought it up earlier. It is difficult to sit here on a season when you're 2-8. When you're 0-6 and you have one of these years where you feel like nothing is breaking your way and you get deep into the water of November, but we visited with them. He said, listen, they are practicing hard. The intensity's there. The effort is there.
And they're playing hard, too, in this game. I've been impressed with that because they've had a key player on both sides of the ball go down in this game early. It was Xavier Sori on defense, of course, Mike Washington at running back. But this is a team that battles, and they understand. People that haven't watched Arkansas play, if you just look at the record and say, well, you haven't won a game in the SEC yet, you're not very good, they know they're much better than their record indicates.
This is off the timeout. First and goal. Green He quickly gets it out to Lassiter, the fullback. And he is pushed out near the 5-yard line.
And it's big having Mike Washington back in the game, not just because of his ability running the football here, where it's very hard to throw it, but also pass protection, catching the football. Bobby Petrino, his playbook right now is wide open in red zone offense because you have the experience and the playmaking ability of number 4 on the field.
Behind that Texas defense to up high here at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium, where it gets loud when you're in this side of the field. Washington lowering the pads, but he is pushed back, and it'll be 3rd and goal. LaFau with another good play.
And I got to think, if you're Bobby Petrino, this is 4-down territory now. Now down inside the 5-yard line with Mike Washington and Taylon Green and his running ability. Again, your defense cannot stop Texas. If you kick another field goal and Texas scores another touchdown, this thing starts to open up more and more and more. So would not be surprised if they stay aggressive, even if they don't get the touchdown here on 3rd down.
11th play of the drive coming for Arkansas. Listen to this roar. Taylon Green weaves his way into the end zone. Eighth rushing touchdown of the year for the best rushing quarterback in the SEC.
And really nice play design by Bobby Petrino. You're faking the handoff here to take this defensive end out, but it's Platt coming around to get a block on the outside to clear this thing open for Taylon Green. A lead blocker. His legs become a big factor. We talked about what makes him the true dual threat. It's not just throwing it. It's running it too on scrambles and on designs, and that was a big-time answer for Arkansas's offense.
Well, we mentioned it earlier. One of the 9 teams in major college football that scores and allows 30 points per game this year. And it's that kind of game we have here in Austin. It's already 21-20.
Run fast while you have the chance. Don't speak, let them look right at you. Run back while you have the chance.
Taco Bell Live Más Student Section. Only one student section can claim the title of Live Más Student Section of the Year. Who's going to take home the trophy this year? Now, that Texas fan has what he considers a trophy in his hand. That is a smoked.
It's a delicacy. In many parts of the world, the charcuterie that he has available to him right now in his left hand is
little Chengale dinner.
That's wonderful.
All-state playoff predictor looks this way, Jesse.
Well, again, a change this year. Top 4 teams get the bye. It's not the top 4 conference champions like a year ago. Miami right now outside of the top 12, but they are right now the highest ranked team in the ACC, in position to be the 4th highest ranked conference champion, and then Tulane in pole position to be the 5th highest ranked conference champion, getting in at the 12th spot.
Arch Manning back to business after he started the day 7 for 7. The 2 touchdown passes, the touchdown reception. The Taylon Green and the Hogs offense, they've been there matching. C.J. Baxter probing the middle of that line as he's tackled by Saili.
Well, that's a big play, too, for Texas. Just trying to keep 3rd downs manageable. You have to find ways to have success on 1st and 2nd, whether it's running the ball or whether it's short throws. 3rd and long has been the problem for Texas this year.
Manning, play action. And that's off the mark beyond Mosley.
So now in this 3rd down, can Arkansas's defense get pressure on Arch Manning? The pocket has been way too clean for him early in this game. There's a big substitution now. Quincy Rhodes, the best defensive player for Arkansas, number 97, has entered the game. Xavier Sorry is going to be rushing as well. Can someone win one-on-one and affect Arch Manning here?
There's Sorry. You saw Rhodes. Rhodes has 8 sacks on the year. 3rd down and 6. Can they get after Arch? And it should have been complete to Mosley, but it goes incomplete. They were charging in on Arch Manning, but Mosley should have secured that.
Well, it's a really good job by Julian Neal, the Fresno State transfer at corner right there, 23, breaking on this ball and forcing the incompletion. This secondary, Joe, has had issues all season long. Julian Neal, though, has been the most consistent. He's been their biggest playmaker on the back end, and he comes up with a huge one now, finally forcing a punt. Is this our first punt of the game?
Yeah, it's our first 3 and out, our first punt of the game.
What is a punt?
So say hello to Jack Bowmeister, the big Australian. Cam Shanks is good return man, but he doesn't get an opportunity as that is outside the numbers. A reminder that the college football playoff top 25 rankings comes your way Tuesday, 7 o'clock on ESPN. They will project the 12-team field. They will reveal the new rankings. Of course, Texas took a tumble after the loss to Georgia. They sit here now at number 17.
And as we watch this game unfold now, Arkansas with the ball back after forcing the 3 and out. And what do we say in the open? They can win this game if they don't give it away. No turnovers. They've been good with penalties so far. Offensively, they're in this thing.
And their defense just delivered the first 3 and out of the game. Green, as he looks to check down to Mike Washington, who just curls up at the line of scrimmage as Simmons was applying pressure.
Well, I think Texas now is trying to find some creative ways to get after him, and Colin Simmons that time came on a big stunt, started from the left, looped all the way around to the inside. They're not just going to rush upfield with speed, but you got to try and confuse this offensive line from Arkansas. They are big and they are physical, and it's hard to get off of them if they get their hands on you.
So Alex January, Murad Watson in the middle, 2 big 300-pounders for that Texas defensive line, showing a 3-man front here on 2nd and 9. As Green keeps it and makes his way out to the 44-yard line. It'll be 3rd down from there.
That's
Michael Tapp with the tackle.
Great individual effort that time by Michael Tapp, because Arkansas is going back to the zone read, and Tapp's the one that's going to have to come replace the end when he crashes down on this inside handoff. And Tapp's got to beat the big right tackle and Marion Harris, and he's able to do that. Now setting up 3rd down for Texas's defense.
Green on 3rd and 5. And the quick out was thrown high, intended for Sharp. And now all of a sudden, both of these defenses rise up after we had nothing but offense.
Well, it's a nice route that time by Raylan Sharp. There's a bit of a window. The problem is he doesn't have a huge catch radius at just 5'9", and if the ball isn't out in front of him accurately, it's going to make it very, very difficult. He's very quick and he's very dynamic after the catch. But that throw just a little bit off by Taylor Green.
Ryan Niblett is the punt returner for Texas. Devin Bale's going to try to play keep away as Niblett is dangerous. Had a 79-yard punt return for a touchdown at Mississippi State that tied the game late in the 4th quarter. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage on what was 4th and 5. Kyle Olson is our referee. And there was some movement with Arkansas's punt unit.
It might have been an illegal formation.
Illegal formation, kicking team, 5 or more players in the backfield. That 5-yard penalty being enforced from the previous spot. Remains 4th down.
Can't do that, not enough guys on the line.
Well, we go back and take a recap of the scoring. It's been offensive just up and down the field. This is the opening drive. DeAndre Moore takes it in on the post. How about this trick play on a jet sweep reverse pass back to the quarterback inside the 5-yard line? Mike Washington just absolutely trucks Michael Tapp on his way into the end zone for Arkansas. Then RJ answers back, a bit of a coverage bust on the back end, finds Parker Livingston on the deep shot, and then it was Taylor Green on 3rd down on a zone read keeper, and really it's been just back and forth, but the defense is now doing a much better job.
Oh, man, that was close. As this bounces inside the 5, and DeAndre Moore is going to field it and take it out from there.
First off, I have no idea how that was not blocked,
honestly,
by Texas. And secondly, why is DeAndre Moore taking this thing out? The rush comes right up the middle of the field. He's able to get it off, and at this point, you know, if you're Texas, you're just let that thing run into the end zone, let it go out for a touchback, and DeAndre Moore decides to try to get some extra real estate back, but a bad decision on special teams sets up Texas now in terrible field position.
See him next to one of the best special teams coordinators in the country, Jeff Banks. You almost had to look as if DeAndre Moore may have thought it touched him for a moment there, and then he fields it. So now here's Arch from their own 8-yard line. Oh, that's batted back into the end zone, and smart to just knock it down. It was Danny Saili who was right in the face of Arch Manning.
Well, Saili knocks this thing down, and it's probably a good thing for Texas, as I think Julian Neal at corner might have jumped this slant and maybe turned this thing into a defensive score. Saili, the transfer from BYU, 315 pounds. He's lost 50 pounds, had a bit of a body transformation, and a good heads-up play that time by Arch Manning just to knock that thing away.
Yeah, you don't know that Quincy Rhodes or Saili himself weren't going to come down with that ball. So second down now for Manning from his own goal line. He's going to go for it. Incomplete, looking for Livingston, who had the 54-yard touchdown. Walker had coverage.
And that's a catch Parker Livingston absolutely has to be able to make. At 6'4", he's going to get a shot with his hands on this first. He runs right by Kenai Walker. Got to catch it right there. He wasn't able to secure it, not allowed Kenai Walker to help lodge this thing loose. You got to catch it the first time, bring it into your body, and a big missed opportunity.
Jesse, this is a big opportunity for the Arkansas defense right now. Third and 10. Arch, a yard into his own end zone, wants another deep shot, and it's incomplete. Looking for Wingo. So Texas, oh, there is a late flag. It's a flag down at the 31. It's going to be against Arkansas.
Pass interference, defense, number 23. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Julian Neal. He's running one-on-one with Ryan Wingo. Probably the fastest player on Texas's offense. It's down here. Just grabs his shoulder pad a little bit there by the collar, and that's enough. That's all the referee had to see. It didn't allow Wingo to separate. And a big third down with Arkansas. You mentioned, Joe, an opportunity to get off the field. That penalty now gives Texas a fresh set of downs.
That is a field-flipping penalty, the DPI on Neal, as the defense wraps up Weisner after a gain of 1.5 yards, maybe 2. Stephen Dix on the tackle for the Hogs.
Well, they're big on the D-line. They're big at linebacker, too. We talked about positionally the size that Arkansas has. Stephen Dix, 6'1", 250. And his running mate right there, number 7, Bradley Shaw, 6'1", 240. There's a lot of beef in the middle of that Arkansas D.
2nd and 8 as they set up the screen, and it's Townsend, the tight end, who is cut down immediately. True freshman from Houston, Texas, who has a very bright future, and it'll be another 3rd and long for Arch and the Longhorns.
And it's a mass substitution now. The best pass rushers coming on the field for Arkansas. Justice Boone, the Florida transfer, number 0. Story's out there. Quincy Rhodes is out there. But again, no one's been able to get home yet in this game. You've got to find a way with movement, stunts, and blitzes to affect the QB.
3rd and 8. They back off and yet still get a little pressure on Arch, who goes downfield and gets it complete to Wingo. What a big play between Arch Manning and Ryan Wingo for a first down, Texas.
Well, a nice play by Arch Manning. He fights off the sack attempt by Justice Boone, number 0. He steps up. Pressure's coming here. Sori's going to spy him in the middle of the field. So Arch Manning doesn't have a lot of time. Once he steps up, he's now got to get rid of this thing now. And a really good job in a scramble drill, too, of Wingo breaking his route off, heading upfield and finding an open area of grass for Manning to throw to.
Manning looking to keep that rhythm going as he's going to have to check down to Weisner, and Weisner lowers the shoulder and goes past midfield on first down. He picks up 8 yards.
And that's where I think Arch Manning has improved the most in the last 7 games, is finding the checkdowns quickly.
To the pass, holding, defense, number 4. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That's on the nickelback, Jordan Young.
On this play, you're going to see Arch Manning step up in the pocket, and just watch how quickly he's looking this way and scanning, and then it's right over here. Get to this fast. and just put the ball into the hands of a running back who's so good in the open field, who's going to be able to make somebody miss down the field. And there's the hold in the slot there by Jordan Young, number 4.
He's trying to contain DeAndre Moore with a 46-yard touchdown to start this game. Weisner on first down as he was met, but then falls ahead forward. It was Kenai Walker who came in the run fit before Story cleans it up.
It was Danny Saili that time that got some penetration. He beat Connor Robertson across his face and forced Weisner to have to bounce that thing outside. Texas all of a sudden, after the penalty on this drive, starting to find a little bit of rhythm as they march this thing into Arkansas territory.
Coming up on the 2-minute timeout. Second and 6. Manning somehow gets away from Story. And a flag is down as Manning darts out of bounds.
I don't know if the referee thought Story grabbed his face mask.
Holding. Offense. Number 73. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
It's Brandon Baker, the right tackle, working against Justice Boone outside. He'll be right here where the flag is. Manning wanted to go to the check down this time, but really good job by Arkansas covering the back out of the backfield there. Penalty now going to back Texas up.
They'll be facing a 2nd and 16 after the 2-minute timeout. Over 200 yards passing and a couple of touchdowns for Arch Manning. Has the touchdown reception as well. It's 21-20, Texas on top. Talked about how improved Arch Manning is in the back half of the season, even as a receiver, Jesse.
Yeah, dude, best Cooper Manning impression. His dad, who was an all-state receiver at Isidore Newman back in New Orleans, playing with his brother Peyton. And nice job by the 6'4" quarterback, going up high and high-pointing the football. Of course, that's his first receiving touchdown of his career, and there's proud dad looking on.
There is Cooper, but never forget it was Mont Ellen who was the all-district selection as a high jumper and a star in volleyball at Sacred Heart High School. Look at the time Arch has here. And the strike is incomplete as Mosley couldn't hang on to that effort.
Mosley's a receiver that I think is primed for a breakout game. This one just over the outstretched arms on that deep crossing route. Now sets up 3rd in California. And interesting here, you know, if you're Arch Manning, you don't have to get it all back. If you can get about half of it back, you're sort of in that no man's land to potentially go for it again on 4th.
Showing pressure off the edge is Arkansas. And with a man in his face, Arch Manning incomplete as Justice Boone was crashing the inside of that traffic there.
Yeah, Justice Boone's a defensive end who in 3rd down situations lines up inside and is going up against big DJ Campbell. Just uses the bull rush and he's able to affect Arch Manning. Finally, someone able to get home and disrupt the timing.
After we had all the scoring, all of a sudden our 2nd punt in a row. Nose down, looking to pin. And it checks up inside the 10. That's exactly why you do the nose down rotation. Let's go to the studio to Kevin. What's up, my man?
Best Capital One halftime report, minutes away. Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagani here. Texas A&M and Georgia roll. A historic first quarter by Notre Dame. Highlights of USC and Oregon. Right now, let's check in. Vandy still in that playoff hunt, in the conversation, taking on Kentucky. Diego Pavia to Trey Richardson here, Boog.
He's having an outstanding game. 18 for 22, 280-plus yards, 2 touchdowns. Diego Pavia leading the Commodores.
Trey has 3 touchdowns. Perfect for the name, and right now Vandy in complete control. Back to you, Tess.
Of course, Kevin, it was Vanderbilt November 1st when they were top 10 when Tex defeated them. Wingo had a 75-yard touchdown on the first play of that game. Kevin Green from inside his own 5. That is dropped by Sharp.
Man, these receivers for Arkansas have got to begin stepping up. In the passing game, it's been mostly Jaden Platt and Rohan Jones at tight end, but in a situation like this, 2-minute type deal with 2 timeouts, an opportunity to drive the ball, potentially score points, take the lead before going in at halftime. It's a big opportunity for this offense, but these receivers, you got to make the easy catches.
By the way, the worst starting field position for Arkansas. They're at their own 11-yard line. Let's see how they manage things with just over a minute and a half until halftime. Mike Washington, good to see him back. He was hurt early in the second quarter and then came back into the game. He's over 100 yards on the day. Simmons with the tackle.
Texas deciding not to take a timeout on defense.
See, 101 yards for Washington. Texas defense came in only allowing one 100-yard rusher in a game this year. That was Ball at Florida.
I got to say, Joe, I thought Texas would take a timeout and try to save as much clock as possible for Manning to get the ball back, maybe at midfield if they can get a stop.
2 timeouts remaining, 3rd and 7. Can the defense get a stop here? Green, as he drives the ball, and it's incomplete. So the clock stops with 57 seconds to go, as Platt was the intended target. McDonald had coverage.
Yeah, but not taking that timeout just bled a bunch of seconds off of that thing. And so, of course, now Arch Manning's going to get 2 timeouts in his back pocket, but I don't know if it was worth not burning one in that situation.
Devin Bale has to really flip the field and keep the ball away from Niblett. Heels at the 1-yard line. As they came after him again. And he does get it outside the numbers with 50 seconds to go until halftime. Monday Night Football has the Panthers at the 49ers. That's 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN and the app. And coverage begins with NFL Live at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then the Monday Night Countdown crew is at 6 p.m. So a full day starting with NFL Live for Panthers and 49ers. And the Mannings will have things on ESPN2 with the Manning cast. And they're going to see where they mark this punt here, Jesse, as it sailed out of bounds.
Yeah, it looks like Texas is going to have the football at about, what, the 35-yard line?
It would just be a 21-yard punt by Bale if that's where they're going to say it went out of bounds. And with that, 2 timeouts and managing a short field.
Well, I think if you're Texas here, you got to make Arkansas pay for that. Again, 2 timeouts. But remember, Texas is going to get the football back first in the second half. How big would it be for them to score a touchdown here and then score another on their opening possession of the second half?
You see where the ball went out there. Manning back to pass. He wants a deep strike. And the coverage on DeAndre Moore from Jordan Young. And the crowd wanted DPI, but it's incomplete.
Well, a nice job by Young. He's going stride for stride with Moore right here in the middle of the screen in the slot. A little bit of hand fighting. The referee lets it go. I think this is where Texas's biggest positional advantage in this game is. It's at receiver versus the DBs of Arkansas, and a big opportunity now in this 2-minute situation.
Saw Young grabbing his arm after that play. Wiesner on the ground as he works his way inside the 30. Remember, 2 timeouts remaining for Texas.
Timeout, Texas. Second of the half.
Well, the good news for Texas is they're already well in Mason Shipley's range for a field goal. They've got a kicker that has a bazooka for a leg. Mason Shipley hit a 60-yarder last year at Texas State, a Sun Belt Conference record. So easily within that range right now.
I want to get back into the conversation with Arch Manning as he's having a superb first half here. We sat with him yesterday. He talked about things slowing down for him. We hear that a lot with young players. How do you define that for a quarterback?
Simplifying things in your head. I think a young quarterback early in his career has just a laundry list, checklist of things you're always worried about. Am I calling the play right? Does the formation look right? What's the front? What's the coverage? What's my progression? Am I being blitzed? Where's my answer? But now in game 11, you start to eliminate some of the variables in your mind, and it just makes the thought process so much easier and allows you to play faster.
Off the timeout. Here Manning making the adjustments on 3rd and 3. 1 timeout remains for Texas. Wiesner As he was probing the middle of that defensive line, he's going to be short of the line to gain, tackled by Jordan Young. So remember, one time out and it's 4th down.
And that's big because he didn't pick up that first down. The game clock keeps rolling. If he had gotten it under 2 minutes to go in the half, that game clock would have stopped while they reset the chains. There's a big play for Texas.
Hear the crowd reacting as they're just going to let those final seconds tick down and utilize that timeout. And that is exactly what Coach Sark does. And they'll send out the place kicker, Mason Shipley.
It's amazing. This game was just an offensive showcase. Defense optional all through the first quarter, bleeding into the second, but it's become more of a defensive battle here in these last couple drives. And it's going to be really interesting to see the different adjustments that I think both of these coaching staffs make. Because these offenses now, they've got to find a way to get back on rhythm.
Well, you brought it up in terms of the offense that we've had here, and then all of a sudden a little bit of defense before half. But look at how even things have been offensively. Total plays, total yards, average per, and both teams with 11 first downs.
And again, it just goes back to Arkansas. If they don't give the ball away and they don't give games away, they're in with everybody they play. They're in the game with anyone in this conference, and that's certainly held true here in the first half.
Mason Shipley, a transfer from Texas State. Played 38 games there, was a Lou Rosa semifinalist. Has a great backstory of having a gap year where he worked at FedEx. And he adds the 44-yard field goal. Couldn't land a spot in college football. Goes on to have an excellent career, the senior, and now kicking here in Austin, and gives Texas a 24-20 lead.
Let's get the breakdown here, Joe. It's good ball rotation. Kind of gets the draw.
If you really want to know, he got under it just a little bit. That's why I started leaking to the right.
I wish my 7-0.
We'll leave that for halftime. Katie.
Thanks, Tess. Coach, you got off to a really efficient start offensively. How would you assess that group so far?
Well, I think we're creating some explosive plays in the pass game. We're running it enough. We got to find a little more run game, and we got to make a couple more plays. We've had some opportunities for some other big plays we just haven't made.
Your defense put together a couple of stops. What do you need to continue to see from them next half?
Well, we got to win on first down. Like we're not playing very good first down defense, and they're creating some explosives. I think we started to do that later in the second quarter, so we got to play in the second half.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're coming off the largest loss of the Sarkisian era last week at Georgia. It was 25 points. Here they got 24 points up at the half. A 4-point lead for number 17 Texas. Our Capital One halftime report coming your way with Kevin and Booger. Gentlemen, take it away. Glad you're with us for the SEC on ABC, presented by Burger King. Joe, Jesse, and Katie with you. We started this game with a combined 7 scoring drives and 41 points, and then all of a sudden, before the half, we have 5 drives that only produced a field goal and 4 punts. It's number 17 Texas up 24-20 on Arkansas. The 81st meeting. The former Southwest Conference rivals. They've only had 6 matchups since they last shared a conference, but it has long been a tradition-rich, history-filled rivalry, and it's been a good one so far today. Good Hands Play is brought to you by Allstate.
Arch Manning got off to a really good start. Started this game 7 for 7. It was quick throws early to Ryan Wingo. Here the first play of the game. Here finding a soft spot in the zone. And then we stretched out to some intermediate throws over the middle of the field to Mosley. And then finally, some deep shots. We saw Arch hit 2 of these. Here a coverage bust by Arkansas. You mentioned it, Joe. Texas was up and down the field. Their first 3 drives, they scored touchdowns. But all of a sudden, Arkansas's defense started to make some plays. They did a better job late in the second quarter getting pressure on Arch Manning, and that has to continue for the Razorbacks.
Manning to open up the second half with time to pass, and he gets it complete to Mosley, and Mosley drags defenders all the way past midfield.
Well, this is a theme that we saw in the first half. Part of the success for Manning has been the pocket. Really nice job. Just giving him an opportunity to work through his progression. You're pulling Hudson, the right guard. It's just a 3-man rush by Arkansas, and that is not going to get it done.
C.J. Baxter As he has a good run on first down to the 39-yard line. Dix with the tackle.
Well, you heard Steve Sarkisian tell Katie at the end of the first half, we got to do a better job running the ball. Right now, Texas only has 50 rushing yards. It can't be all on Arch Manning and these wide receivers. They got to have balance, and they have to start establishing the line of scrimmage.
As he connects with Endres, who has it at 1st and goal, Texas. A big play from his dynamic tight end.
And it was a nice job in the pre-snap by Arch Manning not rushing. He saw the pressure coming off the right side here and changed the protection to get the right tackle over, taking care of that and helping claim the pocket here. That's Larry Worth at safety bringing the pressure. Endres is able to find the soft spot. And it's another explosive play, but a good job by Manning that time, making sure the protection is set to give his offense a chance.
Endres with a 35-yard catch. Manning's in a good rhythm to start this second half. 1st and goal. Ooh. That was high on the slant intended for Mosley.
And there's a penalty flag. We'll see what this call is, but that was a wide open gimme touchdown.
Illegal substitution. Defense. More than 11 players on the field at the time of the snap. Half the distance from the goal. First down.
It was Mosley outside working one-on-one on a slant, and it does not get more wide open than this. And the accuracy issues we saw from Arch Manning in the first 3 weeks of the season, those gone away a bit here in more recent games, but that's certainly a throw that he'd like to have back.
Oh, the ball is loose for a moment there, and then Baxter is able to fall right on it.
Well, it was a direct snap to Baxter that time. Arch Manning was offset, lined up behind the left guard, and Baxter just never fielded it clean. This is going right to number 4, and if he just catches this thing, he's going to try and plow right up the middle, but you got to look it in first. And just 2 bad plays back-to-back for Texas right down here on the goal line, wasting some opportunities.
Weisner comes in at running back after that by Baxter. Here's Manning on the run. Into the end zone goes Arch. So he has 2 touchdown passes. He has a touchdown reception. And now a touchdown run. And Dad is all smiles.
Well, it was the long completion to Endres that set Texas up in this field position. For him to run that in, 2 TD passes, a touchdown catch, and now a touchdown run. Not a bad day at the office for number 16.
It was the big play to Endres, too, that set it up. He has 6 passes of over 25 yards today.
Well, you want to get physical here. You're going with a 312-pound right guard, DJ Campbell, pulling and kicking out on Phillip Lee. Great block there. And that gives Manning an opportunity to weave his way through. You know, at 6'4", 220 pounds, he's like a big running back, essentially, down inside the 5-yard line. You can run attitude downhill runs with Arch Manning, and we talked about this earlier. This is an area of the field where they've been better with him running it. It's not turning around and handing it off. That was a great way to start this second half. Remember, they get the field goal at the end of the first half. They get the ball first in the second, march down the field, score a touchdown, and all of a sudden, it's an 11-point game.
Jesse, what did we bring up earlier about how everybody was here saying, oh, we got a home game, the 2:30 local time kick. That's what we want finally. You know, settle into that rhythm at home. They've won 20 straight home games when leading at the half, and they march down the field and make it an 11-point margin. And now it's 4 straight games that Arch has thrown for over 250 yards. He's coming up on 300. That has been the average the last 3 games.
Well, Arkansas has had success running the football in this one. First play of the game, that's Lassiter at fullback getting an ISO block that's going to clean up for Mike Washington. He's able to run around Michael Taft. Later in the game, he asked Michael Taft, are you vegan? Here's some grass. just lowers the boom before taking that in for a touchdown. But it's not just him. Over 100 yards rushing. Taylor Green also over 50 yards rushing himself in the zone replay.
You know who's not vegan? You in that order last night at Red Ash. What was that, 55 ounces?
Yeah.
You'll excuse us for the table, but you were more than happy to make that order.
That was meat sweats at about 3:30.
Was it ever? That on the wine.
Worth every ounce.
They run option, the pitch to Washington, who is chopped down. Good play by McDonald. Katie?
Well, Tess, after halftime, Bobby Petrino said Arkansas has to continue to mix it up on offense, running the ball in the read option game and taking shots downfield. He said so far he's been pleased with the decisions from Taylor Green. He also said on defense, we have to hit the quarterback. He said if we hit him a couple more times, I like our chances. They were unable to do so on Arch's TD run there.
Well, Katie, they're going to have to throw the ball here, and they need receivers to step up. They need Raylan Sharp, number 6, and Omega Blake, number 9, to start making plays. Those two guys way too quiet in the first half.
They've had spots this year, similarly against ultra-talented teams, where he has done just that. Here is 2nd and 13 as he's able to connect with Rohan Jones, but we bring it up the Texas A&M game. Green threw 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter to come back there. That was 45-42, the A&M.
No, I mean, you've got guys on the outside that can win, and Omega Blake is a really good route runner, and he's a physical receiver at 6'2", and Raylan Sharp with his quickness and his ability to separate. These guys need their touches. It can't just all be Mike Washington and Taylor Green on zone reads. The tight ends have made plays. Just saw one there by Rohan Jones, but where are the receivers?
Jones goes for 14 yards, a first down Arkansas. Green, as he tries to go back to Rohan Jones that time.
And that's a good decision that time by Taylor Green. He wanted to throw that back over the middle of the field on an over route, and that's got him in trouble throwing a couple picks earlier this season. That time, very disciplined decision making by Taylor Green. It's not there. I'm going back to my check down. That's Rohan Jones on the sideline, and we're picking up 8 yards.
A little bit of a limp with Taylor Green, so 8 yards from Jones. 2nd and 2. They've responded well all day long when Texas has gone up to increase their margin. Washington, great down the line defense from Colin Simmons as well as Malik Muhammad.
Well, Colin Simmons is an outstanding pass rusher, but he does a really good job there holding the point outside. He's forcing this ball to now have to bounce outside where the speed of Texas can go and clean it up. You get a lot of credit for being good getting after the quarterback, but he's versatile. He can play against the run as well. This is a situation in the game. Colin Simmons now coming out. They're expecting, I think, Arkansas to run this football because they're bringing bigger bodies and D tackles in the game.
Third down. Green, what is he doing? It's an interception. It is McDonald on the return. Taylor Green got caught up and just shot put it in right to Jelani McDonald.
I think he was trying to throw this thing to Rohan Jones at the last second, but it was Ty Anthony Smith, one of our impact players, who got the hit, forced the ball to just pop up, and it's McDonald. So he's trying to get this to the tight end at the end of this play. This is just going to be a zone read right here. Ty Anthony Smith knocks it loose, and that's what Arkansas had been avoiding all game long. We've seen this script over and over again, giving games away in the second half with giveaways. 18 in the season coming into this one, most in the SEC, and that is a costly error by Taylor Green.
The first turnover of the game for either team, and it puts the ball on the 38-yard line, short field for Arch Manning and the Longhorns. Manning, as he was under pressure.
Well, you see Bobby Petrino talking to his quarterback saying, look, that's just what we can't do. You can't have those kinds of plays and those decisions in a game that's so close, where we have opportunities. And now you put the defense back on the field in a tough sudden change situation. And if Texas can score here, I mean, this blows this thing wide open.
Wisner, as he goes straight ahead, makes his way down to the 32-yard line. Steven Dix with the tackle.
This is one of those, I think, momentum-shifting moments for Texas here. They're so good. The last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 minutes of the second half. Coaches always talk about that being critical. And now after a turnover, it's making the opponent pay. As Taylor Green looks like he's getting worked on over there. We saw him limping a little bit on that last drive, Joe.
We did. Then the interception was thrown, and now a 3rd down and 3 for Arch and Texas, as Wisner is tackled by Steven Dix and Sorey, but they will move the chains. It's 1st down Longhorn.
And that's a great individual effort that time, like when Travion Wisner bouncing off the tackle from Quincy Rhodes. Tough running in between the tackles. I know it's been a bit of a disappointment when you look at the production of this running back room this year for Texas, but a very nice effort there by Wisner.
By the way, Ryan Niblett, the all-purpose player, is in the backfield now, motioning out. Looks his way for a moment, then goes downfield, and wide open is Wingo. Inside the 10, 1st and goal, Texas.
So they're faking a swing pass out to Wisner, and it affects the entire second level of Arkansas's defense. The swing is here. They pump fake that. These guys all run downhill, and no one worries about this. It's a really good job of just setting this play up. We've seen the swing pass a little bit early in the game plan. It's the second time a pump fake has turned into an explosive play in the passing game for Arch Manning.
18-yard reception. Manning now on 1st and goal to the end zone, and it's incomplete, looking for Endres.
There's just always so much eye candy and misdirection in Steve Sarkisian's offense. When you've got guys in motion and you're pulling offensive linemen and the routes, you're just trying to get the defense's eyes in the wrong place. And Steve Sarkisian's as good as anyone in the country at using misdirection on screen plays and on shot plays like you just saw to march down the field. You see right there, they use motion 57% of the time, the 5th highest rate in the country.
Second and goal, Wisner kept his body control for a moment, but then is tackled.
It just feels like a big moment for Arkansas's defense here after the turnover. If they can hold Texas to a field goal, it's still a 14-point game. They allow a touchdown now, and now you're worried about momentum in this crowd here in Austin, and everything surging back on Texas's side. This is a huge moment for Arkansas's defense.
Can they come up with the stop after the interception? 3rd and goal. Manning looking to extend the play, backed up to the 22, survives it. Arch Manning, touchdown! What a day he's having. DeAndre Moore again.
Well, he shows you his elusiveness, his decision-making, and his arm talent all in one play. He's able to break a tackle here from Xavier Rhodes, or Quincy Rhodes outside right there. Steps up, has the vision, and he threads the needle past 2 defenders of Arkansas.
That box score is shining for Arch Manning today. He's over 300 yards again. He's been on a stretch in the back half of the season. His 3rd touchdown pass of the afternoon. Well, this is what happened just moments ago as star quarterback Taylor Green hit, shot puts the ball ahead, and it was intercepted by Jelani McDonald. Texas would go on to have another Arch Manning touchdown pass, and all of a sudden the tight game is now an 18-point margin. This game was 21-20. Check in with Katie.
Well, Tess, Taylor Green's been grimacing in some pain on the sidelines. He's been grabbing both his hamstrings, stretching them out. Meanwhile, Bobby Petrino let him have it. He said it was an easy catch and run. What were you thinking? Backup quarterback KJ Jackson was seen warming up behind the bench. He's set to take over, guys.
So KJ Jackson from Montgomery, Alabama, the redshirt freshman, Jesse. I talked to Bobby Petrino about him. He actually loves the guy. Says, listen, he's very mature for a young quarterback, and he'll have every chance to be the starter at Arkansas next year. Jackson. Incomplete, as it was intended for Sharp.
Well, I've been impressed watching his film, particularly early in the year. He's a specimen at 6'4", 225 pounds. He's a lefty, and he's also very athletic. He can run all the same plays that Taylon Green can. And the big thing for Bobby Petrino now, down 18 here in the second half, you've got to find a way to get this quarterback into a rhythm quickly.
Washington can't find anything against the inside of that defense. Ethan Burke with the tackle.
So now if you're Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator for Texas, you're smelling blood in the water. You got a redshirt freshman quarterback in the game, playing on the road. You're going to take advantage of this crowd noise. Mass substitution for Texas, bringing a lot more speed, including Colin Simmons, hoping to disrupt this young quarterback and his timing.
PK, the defensive coordinator, felt really confident that this team is going to pick themselves up after the loss to Georgia and play hard today. They have. 3rd and 7. Let's see what his defense offers up against the backup quarterback, Jackson. As he gets Washington out of the backfield, and Mike Washington striding his way beyond midfield, run down by McDonald.
Well, a really good decision by Jackson that time, because he sees Michael Taft coming off the edge, and he knows right away he's got an opportunity to get rid of this thing quickly into the hands of Mike Washington. Taft's kind of rushing and then peeling back into coverage, but he's never going to be able to catch up with Washington. Good decision there on 3rd down by the redshirt freshman QB.
And 26 yards on that 3rd down pitch and catch to Washington. Washington can't find anything. He'll be marked down at the line of scrimmage. It's Burke again on the tackle.
Now, KJ Jackson can do the zone read plays as well, just like we've seen with Taylon Green. He's got a lot of speed. He's very explosive, and when he gets into the second level, he can take it the distance. But decision-making, right? It's not just throwing the ball, but on those zone read plays as well, reading the defensive ends, reading your keys, and executing in all facets.
Washington again, and an entire front led by Alex January and Colin Simmons able to push back Mike Washington.
Yeah, it just feels like Texas's defense now is playing with a different energy and confidence level than they were at the start of the game. And those big fellas inside, Alex January, 308, and Hero Canoe and Cole Brevard, they're starting to take this thing over a little bit, playing with great pad level at the point of attack, starting to make Arkansas feel a little bit one-dimensional.
Brad Spence, who's filling in for Anthony Hill, the outstanding linebacker who is out injured his hand a week ago. 3rd down and 7. KJ Jackson in for Green. Jackson going to try to run for it as the pump fake got his man in motion, the would-be tackler, and Jackson utilizes that to move ahead for a 1st down.
Well, Texas had a bunch of guys up at the line of scrimmage that time, but they only rushed these two. Everybody else drops out, so obviously nowhere to go. If you're KJ Jackson, he just sort of buys time, flushes himself out, little pump fake gets Brad Spence to jump. He's able to move the chains. 2 really nice plays by Jackson now on 3rd down.
8-yard run and a 1st down for Arkansas. Short pitch to Cam Settles, and Settles is going to be tackled for a loss. He has some limited time this year, the true freshman running back.
Well, no Anthony Hill Jr., and that's a big loss, but you got to be impressed with Trey Moore, a guy that can play at the line of scrimmage and can also play off the ball in the box. His time just doing a great job reading keys and meeting this football on the sweep. He sees the offensive lineman take a wide zone angle, and he triggers and meets the ball carrier in the backfield.
Jackson. Boy, really tried to muscle that ball to Omega Blake.
And it's just a catch I still think Omega Blake has to make. I know it's not perfect. I know it's coming in a tight window. You got Michael Taffet, free safety, bearing down on you. You've seen a couple drops from Arkansas here. It's not perfect. You got to go low, though, and be able to make that catch and secure it. Now, 3rd and long with a Texas defense that I'm sure is not going to drop 9 like they did on the last 3rd down. They're going to come after him.
Talon Green out. KJ Jackson, the redshirt freshman, in. A loud and rocking stadium here in Austin in 3rd and 12. And just eaten up that time was Raylan Sharp. And a flag comes down as Ty Smith came in with the hard hit.
With that hit and that flag, it makes you wonder, is this targeting?
Personal foul. Targeting. Defense. Number 26. That play is under video review.
So we'll take a break while they review the targeting call on Ty Smith. Texas with a good-looking second half. Well, we'll see if Ty Smith stays in the game when we return.
SEC on ABC College Football, presented by Burger King, is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods and outdoor retailer of the SEC. And Farm Ridge, the official frozen snack of the SEC. Now we're cooking.
Big day for Arch Manning, the first SEC player with a passing, rushing, receiving touchdown, the same game since 2014. The targeting call was upheld, so Ty Smith is ejected from the game.
Yeah, forcible contact to the head or neck area. The defenseless opponent gets upheld. And that's big. Here's why. Anthony Smith is now going to miss the first half of their next game against Texas A&M. If Anthony Hill doesn't come back from injury, they're going to be down 2 starting linebackers in that game against Texas A&M and Marcel Reed.
Anthony Hill injured his hand against Georgia, misses today, their leading tackler. And now a first down after the targeting call. KJ Jackson to the end zone. And it's incomplete. He was looking for Jones.
And it was Cade Phillips, the true freshman corner for Texas, in coverage that time, helping break that thing up. I thought KJ Jackson might just keep this thing and run out. Looks like to me it's going to be a touchdown, and he's just able to kind of fight and knock that thing loose. Cade Phillips, the 6th-ranked cornerback prospect coming out of high school. And he's a guy this coaching staff feels has a real bright future in Austin.
Pete Kwiatkowski told us yesterday the moment isn't too big for him. He's going to get more and more reps in these last 2 games. The true freshman who has a bright future.
The ruling on the field of an incomplete pass is under video review.
Now they want to go back and take a look at this.
He never has full possession of it right there or there. He's pinning it against, it's like the arm.
That's not even
of
close.
Cade Phillips. That's not even close. This should be the fastest review this year in the SEC.
Aggressive pylon cam. Matt Austin, this looks pretty simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, Joe, it really does. I'm not sure this was Booth initiated originally. I think Coach Petrino may have been asking for it and saying he was going to call a timeout to challenge. In that case, the replay would go ahead and stop it on their own. So I don't know that for sure, but I just have a sneaking suspicion that that's how this review came about.
I love when Matt Austin has sneaking suspicions.
After video review, replay was looking at whether there are 11 players on the field for defense or not. There were 11 players. It's 2nd down.
No, so there you go.
Yeah, your spidey senses, they were onto something, Matt Austin.
Yeah.
Got to be impressed, though. KJ Jackson.
Yes.
This drive for Arkansas, right? Coming in
a spot like this.
Yep. He's been doing very well on third down, making some plays. And I think Bobby Petrino's doing a nice job, too, moving the pocket a little bit, changing the launch point for him, and giving him options to both throw and run the football. How big would that be for Arkansas if they could answer here, score a touchdown, and get some momentum back?
And it would speak to the future of KJ Jackson as well. 2nd and 10. The redshirt freshman who's thrown into action. And it's incomplete as he was looking for Jaden Platt.
Actually hit the referee with that football. And had he not, I think Leonga Lafau may have had an opportunity to intercept this thing. This was a very small window over the middle of the field. And that actually was broken up by a referee. Watch this. He's ducking and getting out of dodge. This is a laser beam. Just goes off his shoulder. Whew.
So now it's 3rd and 10 for the young quarterback KJ Jackson. They drop 8. Pocket collapsing as he went with the shallow cross to Shanks. And it'll be 4th down.
Yeah, nice job by Trey Moore spying KJ Jackson. Michael Taff, he reads that underneath shallow cross. Coming out in front and able to help knock that free. Now setting up a field goal attempt for Bobby Petrino, but Taff is here. He's flying downhill as soon as he reads this. He's hunting anything in breaking over the middle of the field, and just a great job triggering and knocking that thing free. And the decision here for Bobby Petrino. We kick this field goal. It's still a 2-possession game.
Starzyk has had a good day. He's made from 51 and 33. And he punches that right through. So a couple minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter. And it's a 15-point game. 17th ranked Texas on top. Now time for today's Aflac trivia question. We've been sizing up the day for Arch Manning. He's the first SEC player with a pass rush and receiving touchdown in a game since 2014. Jesse, we put forth the question of who was the last one to do it. Go back to 2014.
Marcus Mariota?
2014, SEC.
Okay.
SEC player. Here are Arch's last 2 touchdowns as you think about that.
Yeah, pretty good. This is a big play down in the red zone, obviously on a power run, following DJ Campbell, and then this really is the play of the day. Getting rid of Rhodes, keeping your focus downfield in a laser beam over the middle. It's the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah.
Wait, to DeAndre Moore, pretty good, putting all of his talents on display today.
304 yards, 3 touchdowns. Touchdown run, touchdown catch for Arch. Here's Wingo quickly into space as he's out to the 30-yard line. Julian Neal with the tackle. So the Aflac trivia question saying Arch's big day. If the passing touchdowns, the rushing touchdowns, the receiving touchdown, you got to go back to 2014 for the last SEC player to do that. Farrell Cooper at South Carolina is the answer.
How about that? Right off the top of my head.
We called some of his games that year.
I did, yeah.
You and Brent.
I've had a lot happen in my life since that day.
Just a little. Yeah. So was Brent.
Offside. Defense. Number 14. Enter the neutral zone, causing an offensive player to react. It's a 5-yard penalty. Results in 1st down.
You know, it's funny. For a moment there at the beginning of this half, it just kind of felt like this game was getting out of hand. But after KJ Jackson comes in, leads them down in a field goal, if their defense can get the football back and get down the field and score a touchdown here, we got a 1-possession game. Arkansas still very much in this.
So Talon Green on the sideline as Arch wants more, and he's able to get it as he goes downfield and connects with Parker Livingston.
Parker Livingston just ran right by Kenai Walker in the secondary for Arkansas. There's no double move. There's no pump fake. He just ran right by him. Did a nice job adjusting to the ball, catching it on his left shoulder, not easy, and securing it. How many big plays has Texas made throwing it deep down the field?
50-yard reception by Livingston. Incomplete. Looking for injuries.
Well, and I talked earlier about how I thought the biggest positional advantage was Texas's receivers against this secondary. For Arkansas, these guys all year long, they've been getting run by, they've been pass interferences, they're dropping interceptions. And in games late, even when they've been leading, when teams have to throw to get back in it, these guys in the back end, they just have not been able to come up with the big plays needed to ice wins. And I think as you look ahead to next season for Arkansas, whoever the head coach is, they've got to improve on the back end defensively.
We're actually going to get an update from Pete Thamel, the college football insider, as to the future of Arkansas and the coaching search. Pete's going to offer that up here in this broadcast.
False start. Offense. Right guard. 5-yard penalty. Still first down. Excuse me, second down.
Big passes downfield for Arch Manning. He did it again moments ago with a 50-yarder to Livingston. There's Manning on 2nd and 15. Andres was on a shallow cross. It went a little high. Livingston was at the next level. It'll be 3rd down.
Well, Arch has had a pretty good day throwing it deep down the field. You look at completions of 40-plus air yards. In the first 10 games, only 2. He's had 3 today. You got to give the receivers credit, but, Joe, we also have to give the offensive line tons of credit. We've talked about this new starting 5 lineup. The pockets have been cleaner now in the last 3 games, and they've become a lot more explosive throwing it down the field.
Career high 359 yards to this point for Arch Manning. 3rd down. DeAndre Moore, touchdown, Texas. That is 3 receiving touchdowns for Moore and 4 for Arch Manning.
I think this is another bit of a coverage bust, this time by Shakur Smalls. Number 19 for Arkansas, he just got completely lost on the back end. We talked about how the secondary has had issues all season. There was a perfect example of it there on that coverage bust, leading to the Texas score.
Only took a minute 28 for Manning to come down the field in 5 plays.
So here's Shakur Smalls, and he's just going to hang out. And he's in zone coverage, and it looks at first like he's going to break outside here with DeAndre Moore. And then he just kind of loses him, and he's looking inside, and he's not there, and then he's late, and it ends up being a touchdown for Texas. Once again, coverage busts, guys getting run by. Shows up and hurts Arkansas's defense, and DeAndre Moore now counting the touchdowns. It's been a pretty good day for number 0 in Texas.
He has 3. Arch Manning has a half dozen. Four passing touchdowns, the rushing touchdown, the receiving touchdown. 3rd quarter and it's 45-23. A career high 379 passing yards for Arch, and we're still in the 3rd quarter. And Shanks on the return, and a flag is down. 2 flags are down on that return. Well, what a day for Manning, huh, Jess?
It's been pretty impressive. Got off to a really fast start, but I think you've seen a lot of the ability and why people were so excited at the start of the season. Just what he can do physically, but you know, he's got a lot of things that you simply can't coach, and it's been a lot of fun kind of watching him develop and grow in these last 8 games. He's getting better and better and better, and he's shown his toughness this year, Joe, not just physically, but I think mentally as well.
Here in the return, holding, return team, number 25. It's half the distance of the goal. It's a first down.
Remember, coming up tonight right here on ABC, it's Tennessee, number 20, at Florida. And Jesse, Tennessee, they've lost 10 in a row in Gainesville. Number 20 in the country, 7 wins. Florida, you reverse that, they're 3-7, so a great chance for Tennessee to snap that streak at Florida.
No question, and they know they're going to get Florida's best. Obviously, it's been a very disappointing season in Gainesville, but this is the type of rivalry game. If you're a Gator fan, if you win this thing, it does take the sting off of this year just a little bit heading into next season.
KJ Jackson remains at quarterback for Arkansas. Talon Green, who leads the SEC in total offense, knocked out of the game. C.J. Brown with the reception as he is driven back. That was Kobe Black with the tackle for Texas.
Well, at 22 points now, you've got to be pretty much throwing it almost every play, I think, if you're Arkansas. And I think Texas is very aware of that in these situations. These DBs are going to be squatting on routes, and they're going to be looking to see the ball thrown to see if they can jump something.
As Jackson is taken down near that line to gain by Trey Moore. The young backup quarterback thrown into the fire here in Austin. Texas in complete control. The SEC on ABC, presented by Burger King, returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Texas is up 45-23, and that was the intensity of Arch Manning as they head to the 4th quarter, which was a point of emphasis that Coach Sark spoke to us yesterday about, Katie.
Well, Tess, left tackle Trevor Gooseby said it best. He said, look back at the Florida game. We let Arch get sacked 6 times. He didn't pass blame. He went to work, bounced back the next week, and played great against OU. He's resilient. Gooseby said that's a guy you want to block for. And Steve Sarkisian said Arch has not missed a single practice, a single rep this season. His toughness has garnered him so much respect within the locker room, and you saw it there.
Did you ever? Incredible day he's having. As we start this 4th quarter, KJ Jackson being chased as he throws it just as he was being taken down by Trey Moore.
Well, you love seeing that moment from Arch Manning from a leadership standpoint. And Joe, I think sometimes as a young quarterback, you don't feel comfortable speaking up and speaking out. And I think you feel like you need to earn the right. Not the times the only way to do that is by having success on the field. Today, easily the best game of Arch Manning's career here at Texas, and he's growing into that leadership role. And you're seeing it happen before your eyes. The way he's played now in the second half of the season, taking those steps. And that's really good news for Texas at the end of this season, but certainly also projecting ahead into next year.
Jackson on 2nd and 10. Good catchable ball easily into the arms of a wide open Rohan Jones.
There's another play where they sneak Rohan Jones out of the backfield. He's a tight end, but sometimes they'll line him up at fullback right here, and he just kind of weaves his way out, and nobody sees him. He runs right by the linebacker, and it's a nice touch pass by KJ Jackson for another explosive.
Out of the backfield is Washington as he crosses midfield. So extended time for KJ Jackson. And obviously, Jesse, I mean, you went through this level of progression. When you first get into a big game, you first get all those extended reps. It's important for a young quarterback.
Absolutely, and every rep counts. And I think that last play you just saw, the quick check down there to Mike Washington, that's good. These are all things that KJ Jackson can build on. He may be the future of Arkansas's offense moving forward. And so to get these opportunities in games like this against this competition, no question that's massive.
As Talon Green looks on, left the game banged up. Mike Washington goes ahead to move the chains. A first down for Arkansas. We talked about all the close games that Arkansas has had this year. 7 single-digit losses, the most in a season in SEC history. And now here in the fourth quarter, they catch Texas on a day when Arch Manning has looked his absolute best. Again, Washington out of the backfield, but he had to turn around, and with that, it gave some time to the defense and Cade Phillips to close on him.
You know, it's amazing. Texas has lost 23 guys to the NFL draft in the last 2 years. It's the second most ever during a stretch like that. And the job Steve Sarkisian has done and this coaching staff of bringing in talent. You see Cade Phillips, a true freshman, making a big play there. 4 straight top 5 recruiting classes out of the high school level, and that's how you reload.
You see some of the massive humans down on the sidelines today. Today is one of their biggest recruiting weekends. They've had a funny schedule, so there haven't been a lot of home games mid-afternoon to have that opportunity. Jackson, that was nearly intercepted that time as Grayson Littlejohn, one of those players in those recruiting classes you speak of.
And you want to talk about a guy getting thrown into the fire. First game of the year, here Grayson Littleton, we're going to go up to Ohio State and you have to cover Jeremiah Smith in the slot. And he did it. And actually matched up and made plays. On 2 plays now, you're seeing Cade Phillips and Grayson Littleton and the talent that Texas has in the back end. Done a really good job recruiting there and replacing Jahdae Barron, the Thorpe Award winner last year. Some of these young guys, man, it's impressive.
Yeah, Littleton was a 4-star recruit out of Tampa. Washington on 3rd and 8 as he was tackled. And again, it's Cade Phillips, a really good-looking true freshman. He was a 5-star recruit.
It's unbelievable. The 6th-ranked corner coming out. This is a really good play by KJ Jackson. He sees the pressure coming up the outside. And he has to throw this thing hot right now to Mike Washington. He does that. But the job of Cade Phillips to beat the right tackle to the ball and make a stop in space, now setting up 4th and 8.
They're 53% on the season on 4th down. This is a 4th and 8. Jackson pressured. Simmons strip sack. And would you look at what the Longhorns are doing here with LaFau bringing it all the way back.
Well, you knew it was only going to be a matter of time for Colin Simmons coming off the right side of formation, working against the Marion Harris. It's dangerous trying to block him with just 1 tackle. And he makes them pay, forcing the fumble. And what a great job by LaFau, finding the convoy and taking it home.
Leonga LaFau with the fumble return touchdown. After Colin Simmons did it again, he is a dynamic pass rusher and disruptor and game changer. And that is what he did right there, creating the first defensive touchdown this year for Texas.
Well, Colin Simmons comes off the right side of the formation, and just Marion Harris, who gave up 2 sacks to him a year ago, just can't hang on. When this ball comes free, it just goes right into the hands of LaFau, and I thought receiver C.J. Brown might get a tackle right there. Then he got the big fellas out in front on the convoy. Great job finding open field. And he takes it in, and Pete Kwiatkowski, the D coordinator, he loves it.
Does he ever? 52-23. Now the defense getting involved as well. As moments ago we just saw Foul with the fumble return touchdown. And everybody is coming out of that third loss by Texas saying, okay, so what has to happen here if you're Texas? Well, obviously, you got to have the win today and then circle the big one. You got to upset number 3 undefeated A&M. And then you need a little bit of chaos. You need the others ahead of you to catch losses. By the way, USC is losing by 2 touchdowns to Oregon. And then that needle in the haystack of the college football playoff, well, maybe, just maybe you find the needle in the haystack with 3 losses. But it is a tough spot for Texas against a very difficult schedule that they've had. Utah losing to Kansas State as well. We saw Utah's logo fly by there. Listen, there's always chaos in November.
It's college football, and so crazy stuff can happen. You needed USC to go down today for sure. It would help if BYU lost to Cincinnati. You absolutely need Georgia to beat Georgia Tech next week. If Georgia Tech wins tonight and wins next week, they're going to get in. It would help if Alabama lost in the Iron Bowl. It would certainly help you if Ole Miss lost the Egg Bowl. All that can happen. But it doesn't matter if Texas doesn't take care of business next week against the number 3 team in the country at home in Texas A&M.
Cam Settles is a true freshman running back for Arkansas. Well, you mentioned some of these teams that are at that threshold of making the 12-team college football playoff. Here's a comparison for you.
Well, and the committee has always looked at the loss column, obviously, and the 3 is certainly hurting Texas. But you know, you got to look at those losses. The Ohio State was a good loss by 7 points on the road. Georgia, not as good, losing by 25. The loss against Florida was a bad one. And those are all conversations that they're having inside the committee.
But look at the Texas schedule. You're playing a top 5 Ohio State team, a top 10 Oklahoma team. Vanderbilt was top 10 when they played them. You beat Oklahoma, Georgia, number 5 in the country, and next week, undefeated rivalry with Texas A&M.
No question.
Think about that schedule with those top 10 opponents.
If you were to beat, Oklahoma and Vanderbilt and Texas A&M in terms of strength of schedule, that's pretty good.
Here's Blake on the slant, and that's out the midfield. Look at the full schedule here, Jesse.
I'll give you another perspective, too, though. They beat Kentucky and Mississippi State in overtime.
Yes, I understand.
So the margin for this team being a 3-loss team or a 5-loss team is pretty thin. And I'm just providing perspective on what the committee, what some of those discussions may be, and why Texas is ranked where they are right now.
Jackson, as that was incomplete. He was trying to connect with Blake again. We got a flag down at the 31-yard line.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 27, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That is Wardell Mack for the Longhorns.
It's interesting when you think about next week's matchup here against Texas A&M and how Texas sizes up. I think it's really interesting. I think that game is going to come down to the trenches. If Texas can be physical in the trenches, I think they've got a real shot to win that.
Everybody's going to be analyzing that game all next week against A&M, who has elite talent, both those schools, the way they've recruited and acquired talent. You're talking about elite talent at every level.
Especially at Texas A&M. I think they have the best offensive line in the SEC.
Agreed.
And so if this Texas D-line with Colin Simmons, these big D tackles, getting Anthony Hill back is absolutely imperative for them to not just stop the run, but also blitz and get after Marcel Reed. It's going to be a great challenge, I think, for A&M's O-line here on the road.
And remember, in that game next week, as the first down pass, Settles cannot control it. Ty Smith will not be available because he was ejected for targeting in this second half.
Yeah, and he's been a big-time playmaker for them these past couple weeks. A little bit undersized at 6'1", 216 pounds, but Joe, he flies around with speed. Got a sack last week against Georgia, and he can hit people. And he is a physical presence in the second level of Texas's defense, and that already is a massive loss for them in the first half of that game.
Yeah, Pete Kwiatkowski, the D-court, told us he's so fast, so smart, knows the defense inside and out. And with Hill out, you have to have that kind of a guy. There's a completion to Blake as the redshirt freshman KJ Jackson has been growing up on the spot here in Austin.
And he's been battling. He's been in some tough situations and some third downs against a very talented defense. And he stepped up. I've been impressed with him so far, making good decisions, taking care of the football. Outside, of course, that fumble and the strip sack by Simmons.
That is Cam Settles going ahead for the first down. And this is indicative of exactly what Bobby Petrino told us the other day about a team that, even with the record, even with the season they're having, they're still always fighting, always giving an effort. They're sitting here winless in the SEC, 2 wins on the season. Texas having punched them right in the face in this second half, and they're still battling, stringing together a long drive. To the end zone. Incomplete, no flag. C.J. Brown, the intended target. Cade Phillips set coverage.
I mean, Cade Phillips here in this quarter alone is making tons of plays.
He is.
A little bit of hand fighting going on. The key, though, is he turns his head to locate the football. And generally, when you do that, referees will keep the flag in the pocket.
Top 4 cornerback nationally. The 5-star out of Missouri City, Texas. A true freshman. Jackson trying to extend the play as stays on his feet and dives into the end zone. Great athleticism and awareness by KJ Jackson.
This is what I was talking about earlier. He's a physical specimen, 6'4", 225, and he's able to avoid Umozolo in the pocket at first, step up. Nothing open downfield. He runs right by Trey Moore. He breaks another tackle by Umozolo right there. Is able to get in the end zone. Whoever the next head coach for Arkansas is, after what you've seen here in the second half from KJ Jackson, the future still looks pretty bright offensively. They're able to keep him.
Starzyk adds the extra point, but that is the talk around the program, that many feel if everything stays the course, it would be his team starting in 2026.
SEC on ABC College Football is presented by Burger King. You rule.
Would you look at him then? We got Tennessee and Florida coming up, but 2000 when they played. A 91-yard drive by Jesse Palmer that was capped with this. Javar Gaffney, the 3-yard touchdown pass with 14 seconds to go.
Take a look at the line, Judge. Obviously a touchdown. Obviously. A lot of creatine back in 2000.
You were looking.
A lot of oxygen. Here's the thing. People get all mad about that play. Was it a touchdown? Was it not? But here's what you don't understand. I threw a touchdown pass 2 plays before that to Rishae Caldwell. He lined up offside, so we rolled it again. Even if that had been incomplete, Joe, I would have just thrown another one a play later. It was inevitably going to happen. The better team won.
So that is coming up on ABC, the great rivalry, Tennessee and Florida. A lot of people asking about the Arkansas coaching search. What do you have, Pete Thamel?
Thanks, Joe. The latest on the Arkansas search today is it appears to be coming to a culmination in the near future. I've been told to expect some resolution in the upcoming days. And sources have told me there's 4 names that have been linked to this search the most. USF's Alex Golish, Memphis's Ryan Silverfield, North Texas's Eric Morris, and Alabama defensive coordinator Kane Womack. Look for some resolution in the near future for the next Hog coach.
Thank you very much, Pete. So that could be right around the corner as Bobby Petrino took over for Sam Pittman. Sam Pittman was let go on September 28th. One of the real great guys in the game. Sam Pittman. And that is the latest from Pete, as Arch Manning still in there here in the fourth quarter, as Wisner on the carry. Let's go through some of those names there that Pete is putting forth. Alex Golesh has been an excellent head coach. Ryan Silverfield, who's not that far away at Memphis, you know the success he has had. Kane Womack, Eric Morris. It's a good group of candidates.
Kane Womack played at Arkansas. Remember back in the day with Gus Malzahn? Here's the thing, whoever it is, you've got to attack NIL, and you have to be willing to be aggressive. When you think about the potential at a place like Arkansas, 3 families, J.B. Hunt, the Tysons, and the Walmarts.
That's a whole lot of cash.
If they buy in, Arkansas could be Texas Tech in 1 year. You could buy whatever you want.
Yeah, Northwest Arkansas has some titans there, as that's a good, hard run. As Trey Wisner takes it ahead. We're under 7 minutes to play of what has just been a dominating second half by Texas.
And I know Texas is up now 22 points, but Steve Sarkisian's challenging his offense here to run the football and ice this game, something they have not been able to do consistently well all season long. And Joe, to me, that's a huge key for them against Texas A&M, because you and Katie have seen a lot of their games this year in person. The third down package that Texas A&M has and their blitz deal, you do not want to be living in that next week. If you're Arch Manning, you've got to be able to run the football in that game.
There's Wisner again. They're doing a good job in this fourth quarter. By the way, we mentioned the Arkansas coaching search, but Steve Sarkisian had to actually address his future this week. He was so bothered by this, the report that he had interest in an NFL job, and then our colleague Desmond Howard spoke about Sark and Texas potentially mutually parting ways. So on Wednesday's SEC coaches teleconference, Sark opened things up. He said, listen, I got a comment on this, and it's been bothering me. People reporting, insinuating there's a possibility I could leave Texas. That's absolutely false and untrue. He says, I'm not going anywhere.
So give his team credit, too, after getting beat by 25 against Georgia, to be able to turn the page and not let that be a distraction and show up here today playing really well. Good play by Sori in the backfield, as he was first to get to Wisner. It's important for Texas to have this kind of game, and for Arch Manning to have this kind of game, building confidence, because it really comes down to next week. All those scenarios we just showed everybody about, can they get in the playoff, what has to happen, what are the records, what's the strength of schedule, it's all a moot point if you don't beat Texas A&M next week. So I think having this result today, I think, is really big for Texas heading into that game. This is Mosley as they set up the screen, and he will have a first down. Our college football playoff rankings are brought to you by Verbo. And we see this thing change over and over and over. Oregon right now up on USC. Oklahoma getting the big win against Missouri. How about this, by the way, right here? You, Katie, and I just saw Notre Dame in person last week, 70-7. I know Jeremiah Love, that's a guy that you think could be the Heisman Trophy winner this year. I think he's the best player in college football overall. His box score today is utterly ridiculous. 170 yards, 3 touchdowns, I believe on 8 carries. Matthew Caldwell has come into the game at quarterback, and Christian Clark is playing running back as he is tackled for a loss. So Arch Manning's day is over, and it was spectacular. A career-high 389 yards passing, 4 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, 6 total touchdowns, Jesse. Yeah, and I think some of the independent variables too, changing protections at the line of scrimmage, making sure the offense was in a good spot. We saw that leadership moment, rallying his team at the start of the fourth quarter as well. Everything went about as well as it could for him. And again, this defense he's about to see next week, the blitz packages they have on third down, it's like NFL stuff. It was important that he had a good one today to get ready for that. Here's Christian Clark as a flag is down. Remember, next week it is Texas A&M.
Holding.
Right
Offense,
here.
Number 83, 10-yard penalty. Remains second down.
And it's still a 4-way race. You know, A&M, I know they're number 3 in the country undefeated, but you got A&M and Alabama and Georgia and Ole Miss. Obviously, A&M, they're in the prime position to secure their spot in the SEC championship game. If Alabama wins against Auburn, they're in. Georgia, they could use a three-way tiebreaker, as could Ole Miss. Ole Miss, strangely, sitting there with one loss, not playing in the SEC championship game, could benefit them greatly.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at this. If you had 3 teams finish at 7-1, the tiebreaker, because all 3 didn't play each other, would be strength of schedule. And I think Alabama right now in the driver's seat for that, obviously with some games to play that could change those factors. But yeah, if you're Ole Miss, you're right, Joe. I mean, win the Egg Bowl next week, you're in.
With a great seed and hosting a first-round playoff game.
Christian Clark, the ball carrier.
So the games that will decide the SEC championship, these are the key games remaining.
And they're rivalry games. So you can take records and you can take statistics and you can throw all that stuff out. Alabama, I believe, could lose at Auburn. Auburn's defense is absolutely fantastic.
Listen, I know Auburn's had a choppy year and everything happening, the coaching change, and struggles on offense, changing quarterback and all that. If you've ever been around the Iron Bowl, you just know. You've called the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, I've called it. I've called
just know.
And I've called a bunch of Egg Bowls too. And Mississippi State is a very good team. Ask Texas about that.
Having called the Egg Bowl myself, I would tell you the loudest and arguably most underrated rivalry in all of college football. The 2-minute timeout on the best day that Arch Manning has had in college football. 6 total touchdowns. We'll take it home from there after this short break. What a day for Arch Manning. Career highs, 6 total touchdowns. Jesse
started fast, leading this offense on 3 TDs on their first 3 drives. This one to DeAndre Moore in the opening drive. Coverage bust on the back end here. Parker Livingston secures this one. How about the trick play down inside the 5-yard line, dialed up by Steve Sarkisian. Parker Livingston doesn't make it easy on him, but he makes a nice catch, and then good tough running in between the tackles, becoming the first SEC player to throw for a touchdown, catch a touchdown, run for a touchdown in the same game since 2014.
We had a great visit with him yesterday, and we talked about the beginning of the year, all the criticism, all the attention, all the hype compared to the back end of the year when he's been delivering. He said, you know, I think going through the tough times is really important. He paused, turned to us, and he says, even though it really sucks, hey, it didn't suck today, did it? Look at those numbers.
No, this is a banner day, no question, and one to build off of. And knowing Arch Manning, he'll keep challenging himself, keep pushing himself to be even better next week in what will be their biggest game of the year.
The officials actually put time back on the clock. The clock had run down, and the officials put time back on the clock, even though we stepped away for what was the full 2-minute TV timeout. Took that, and yet we have 2:06 left. Tennessee and Florida coming up. Remember, Tennessee has had all these struggles playing down there in Gainesville, and now here they are in prime time, top 20 team in the Swamp. A.J. Jackson from his own end zone. As it's incomplete, looking for Platt. A.J. Jackson from Montgomery, Alabama, came into the game when Talon Green was injured in this second half. Green, who leads the SEC in total offense. Jackson came down, showed some guts, and leading the team down the field for a touchdown drive. He had a touchdown run as he connects with Sharp here. I know everybody wants another 2-minute timeout, so we're going to deliver for the fans here. Here it is. Enjoy. There's DJ Lackway. We got Florida hosting Tennessee, top 20 Vols down in Gainesville, trying to snap that losing streak they've had through the years to the Gators. As we're wrapping up things here in Austin, Texas has been rolling all second half against Arkansas. And a massive day for Arch Manning. You can still hear the roar. The party's been going on here in Austin. As that's complete to C.J. Brown. Well, we were so entertained during the break by my man here.
Yeah, somebody stole Todd Blackledge's sports coat. That is a 58 double XL long.
You know, he's going to be blowing up our phones every second now. It doesn't even work for us anymore.
Blackledge does not have that rhythm either. I'll say that confidently. It's a compliment.
Rohan Jones, excellent tight end for a first down. You like the stash there? K.J. Jackson, redshirt freshman, who was fought hard here in this second half. But Texas has had everything their way. Defensive touchdown, Arch's magnificent career day. And flag is down. K.J. Jackson wants every one of these last.
Offense, number 55. 10-yard penalty. It's still first down.
Minute 16 before we get you to Tennessee at Florida.
Well, learned a lot about Arch Manning, I think, this season. I think coming into the year, you kind of knew he was big and he could throw and he could run. But I think what we've learned about him is he's pretty tough.
Yes.
Physically tough. When you watch the games against Florida and Mississippi State, he's getting blitzed. He's getting lit up. He hangs in there and makes big-time throws, but I think he's also pretty mentally tough. I don't think there was another quarterback more under the microscope than Arch Manning was at the start of the year. And yeah, he struggled the first 3 games, but just kept going back to work, kept improving. And today, obviously, has the best game of his young career.
Glad you're focusing in on that word toughness, because that is accurate. And that was something that was brought up yesterday from Coach Sark to us. He said this guy is tough, and that is what has earned the respect of his teammates. And Katie had the report earlier where she noted that Arch hasn't missed a rep, hasn't missed a practice this season.
I don't know how many times he hit the ground today.
No.
You have to give his offensive line a ton of credit. I mean, they were fantastic in pass pro. Certainly quarterback's job a lot easier when you've got clean pockets. The big question, can they do that next week against A&M?
And with that, he was able to take some deep shots. And he was able to hit on them right away. DeAndre Moore had a huge day. He had the 46-yard touchdown that started the scoring. Parker Livingston had the 54-yard touchdown. So the numbers everywhere you look for Texas, as there is Parker also had the touchdown pass to Arch.
Colin Simmons, it was only a matter of time. Had the big strip sack, fumble. Leonga scooped it up and scored. Playmakers making big plays in big games.
As Sharp has a good play. And listen, we mentioned it earlier that Arkansas is fighting right through the finish line of the season. We have seen so many times, as you see Coach Petrino there, where things start going against a program, a team. You get bad breaks, you get fourth quarter turnovers. You're sitting there at 0-6, and it just unravels and it gives way. That has not been the case with the effort from Arkansas.
And by the way, K.J. Jackson has thrown for 200 yards.
Stepped into the game.
He literally just stepped into the game, and he's been making a lot of plays. There was that great run we just saw recently on the touchdown. There's no quit in this team, that's for sure. They keep fighting, and K.J. Jackson really a microcosm of that.
He is representative of exactly what Coach Petrino said is nearly a great play made by Phillips, who pushed away to get space on C.J. Brown.
That was a very obvious push right in front of the referee.
Pass interference, defense, number 11, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Just pushed C.J. Brown out of the club to get the opportunity at this interception. Very talented young player. We've seen him and Littleton, these guys making plays. Got a lot of good young ones on defense.
All these top 5 recruiting classes that he has strung together, and then you see it hit the field. K.J. Jackson trying to finish strong. And they do with a touchdown to Jaden Platt with 16 seconds remaining. Then to your point, here's a young man who steps in, gets his first extended time in a tough spot against a good, talented Texas team. And in the second half, he has over 200 yards and a touchdown pass.
And he never flinches. I mean, he's got another true freshman, Elijah Barnes, at linebacker, breathing down his neck on a blitz. And he just shows tremendous poise, staying in the pocket, a nice accurate throw to Jaden Platt. Gets Arkansas back on the scoreboard. And again, these are all coachable moments and things that this young man is going to build upon for his career moving forward with Arkansas.
52-37. This is a storied rivalry. Has so many great moments of history throughout it. Of course, everybody will talk about the 1969 game of the century when President Nixon took the helicopter to the game and declared Texas the national champions. And in the great history of this rivalry, Texas 52 points, second most points scored in the rivalry. They scored 54 once against Arkansas. Jesse, that was all the way back in 1894.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, these rivalry games are special, and to me, it's what makes the sport so special. And even though some of these rivalries go away for a bit with conference realignment, that's been a new reality in the sport here, certainly in the past couple decades. But when they get renewed, it is fun. I think for you and me and Katie to go back when we do our research getting ready for these games, to kind of educate ourselves a little bit on how special some of these games are and what they mean to the fans.
Of course, the old Southwest Conference was where these teams played. Arkansas was in the Southwest Conference until they left for the SEC in '91. And then Texas, of course, was there until the end of the conference in '96. And now the big news that happened a few years ago with Texas coming to the SEC to make it the most loaded conference in college football. And they played that year in 2021. Arkansas got the best of them. And now we got Starzik lining up for the onside kick. So Arkansas wants every single second against Texas to be as competitive as possible as this harmlessly goes out of bounds. We'll hear from Coach Sark at the conclusion here.
Out of bounds, kicking team. 5-yard penalty from the spot where the ball went out of bounds. First down.
Thought he was very honest in detailing what it's like when you come off of that kind of a game against Georgia, where you're sitting there only down 4 entering the fourth quarter, and then it gets sideways on the scoreboard of how it takes a few days to get back. But he said to us, this team was locked in midweek here for this one.
No hangover, and it'll be fun. This is kind of the opposite now moving forward, right? You got a nice win against Arkansas. You enjoy this one tonight. You got to come back to work early next week, though, ready to lock in to face what right now is the #3 team in the nation in Texas A&M.
52-37 on the best day that Arch Manning has had in his college football career. 6 total touchdowns for Arch. Katie?
Thanks, Tess. Sark, that was a dominant second half performance in all 3 phases. What impressed you most about your team's play today?
Well, I think it was their ability to bounce back from last week. The season's not done. You know, we had 2 weeks to go, and you never know what can happen. And we had to take care of this one to get ready for next Friday night. So just proud of our guys preparing and coming out and competing tonight the way they did.
Arch was fantastic. He did it all. He had to stretch for that touchdown catch. What did you make of his day?
Well, I thought when we had some shots down the field, he took them, trusted his receivers, he used his legs and avoided some sacks to create some plays. He's a really versatile guy, and we saw a lot of his versatility today.
What will you tell your team tonight, tomorrow, this week in terms of what's at stake next Friday?
Let's just control what we can control. It's great to be part of a rivalry game. Thanksgiving weekend, Friday night, all eyes will be on us. We got to go compete.
Best of luck. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bring on the Aggies. Texas has now won 20 straight home games against unranked opponents, and Arkansas has now lost 9 in a row, their longest single-season losing streak in school history. For Katie and Jesse, I'm Joe Tessitore, inviting you to enjoy the rest of your night, Tennessee and Florida. Plus, here's Kevin in the College Football Scoreboard studio. Take it away, my man.